Venom movie's tagline is "The world has enough superheroes" because this powerful alien symbiote appears to be an evil man.
Hi everyone. Hi everyone. I have to check on the audio stuff here and there first. Just give me a while. Give me a while. Oh what? Huh? Come on. A moment. Hello! Hi Theorists! Hi, I'm here. Hello to you. Hi. How are you doing? Thank you so much for coming over. You're literally the first person in chat. So early. Thank you. Sorry, today a bit slow. Started like live show a bit slow. Right now it's 11:30 already. I should have started 2 hours ago. 2 hours and a half ago. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Society. Well, I'm trying to find the video you're reacting to. Sure. This one is about Venom.
Sure,
I'm gonna start
Venom
with Venom.
movie's tagline is "The world has enough superheroes because this powerful alien symbiote appears to be an evil, man-eating menace." But have you ever stopped to consider that Venom may actually be the victim in all of this? Give me 15 minutes, or honestly, whatever length this video winds up being, because who knows, the actual length of this video isn't finalized until like 5 steps after I record this. Whatever it winds up being, stick around, because I think I'm gonna be able to change your mind. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory, the show that's cringier than a Peter Parker dance break. Okay, maybe not that cringy, but close. Today we're talking about Venom, one of Spider-Man's most popular villains because, let's face it, who doesn't love themselves a dark doppelganger storyline, am I right? For those of you who need the quick rundown, Venom is one of several alien symbiotes to go around possessing human hosts in the Spider-Verse, giving them special abilities like shape-shifting, increased strength, and, abnormally long tongues.
Oh wait, sorry. Oh no. Actually, this one can just. Today I'm gonna geek out a bit. As in like 5-6 hours of geeking out, nerding out. Okay. Chat, just a moment, chat. Just a moment. I'm gonna do some application first, something first. Today going to geek out a lot. A lot of geeking out today. Today I'm gonna be super geek. Super nerd. Yeah, super nerd. Hopefully can. Hopefully can. Okay. Hopeful. 希望吧。倘落了天，把该说的话好好说，该体谅的不执着。如果那天我不走情绪路。不走情绪挑拨，你会这么做？那么多如果，可能如果我可惜你路过，倘若那天把该说的话好好说。哎呀，该体谅的不执着。如果那天我不走情绪挑拨，你会怎么做？那么多如果，可能如果我，可惜没如果，没有你和我。不怪我，不该沉默是沉默，该勇敢是沦落。如果不是我误会自己洒脱，让我们难过。可当初的你和现在的我，假如重来过。사랑이 사랑이 했다 우리가 만나 지우지 못할 추억이 됐다 로마나 레몬 드라마 괜찮아 여마 끝까면 됐다 넌 사랑했다 우리가 만져라 시나리오 이젠 정면 이거 찍어 마지막 페이지 오케이 굿 오케이 빙고 Oh my god, hi everyone! Oh my gosh, there's 2 people in the chat. Hi everyone! Hi. Oh gosh. Oh, the audio is a bit. Oh, hi everyone. Hi K Profits, hi Evan Lim. Hi K Profits. Okay, sorry. Let me just read the message. Okay, so it's here. I'm here. Hold on, I'm trying to find the videos you're reacting to. Okay. Alright, found them. Alright, well, thank you so much, KB Profits. Thank you. Sincerely appreciate for being so. Sorry. Okay. Bingo. Yes. Alright, next is why disappear? Hi Evan. I haven't disappeared. Did I disappear? Oh, I did disappear. I'm sorry. Ivan. I'm sorry. Next, I was watching Vine Sauce, Vsauce. I think we're saying Vsauce or Vine Sauce. I was watching Vsauce just now. So, next is oh wait, I didn't. Okay, so that's the thing. I've been creating these kind of videos for the past few days, weeks, months. I didn't check social media. One thing on the bright side, I didn't check social media for good thing, right? You know, because of the whole Twitch leaks and the Facebook, Instagram, the thingy. So yeah, I don't even have Instagram. Why don't I have Instagram? Yeah. Anyways, next is we got 2 people in chat. Yes, I know. Perfect. Thank you so much. Humdrum, hi. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Humdrum have a Discord. I didn't know that. Yeah, I stopped using Discord for a while. I think I need to get back to Discord soon. I've not used Discord for how long already. October, November, December. Okay, quite a long time. Okay, I need to get back to the Discord. Because Discord is useful for me to do announcement that yay, hi everyone, I'm doing a live stream in like the next half an hour or tomorrow, something like that. Or this week's plan for my live streams. Here and there. That's good. I knew that. Oh, he does now. Che. Oh wait, he's too secretive. I want to jury out also difficult. Really? Well, okay, I'm sorry. Wait a second. 1 second. Right, I'm waiting for you. Okay, anyways, first things first, audio check. It's always good to do an audio check first before anything else. So, standardize. Sorry. Okay. Okay, quite standard. Okay. Audio check. 1, 2, 3. Right, let's check. Audio check. 1, 2, 3. Very good. Right, my audio can. My vocal can. Let's try.
In the new movie, journalist Eddie Brock is investigating the
Oh, sorry. I should record first.
Life Foundation, an organization whose experiments with the symbiotes are a whole lot more sinister than their super.
Alright, now to check on the audio for video. It's quite standard stuff. Normally you see this, you normally see this behind the scenes.
Life Foundation, an organization whose experiments with the symbiotes are a whole lot more sinister than their super.
Alright, now to check on the. Oh, this is good. So my mic is good. The display is good. So let's start the video. Alright, it's gonna be a long video. I've eaten lunch already, so I'm gonna live stream until like what, 5-6 p.m. Yeah, it's gonna be long. Let's go. I'm hypnotized. Ivan, this is not hypnotized. This is more hypnotizing, right? Like, okay. And and even this. Maybe I will start 2022 when the global pandemic when the current global pandemic loosen up a bit more. Like, because currently there's a lot of cases. People are dying every single day, which really hurts. Yeah, so I might have to stay here for a while. Oh my god, KB Profits, thank you so much. Yes, thank you, thank you. If you need to go, like, have rests, have something else to do, or maybe have lunch in Singapore, right now it's 11:43 a.m. If you have something to do, please remember to just focus on it first. Yeah. I don't want to take too much of time. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. I'm so sorry. Ivan, that sounds like a good plan. Audio good. Thank you so much. Next, okay, let's start. This is Symbiotes, right? Sorry. Hello everyone, it's me, and today, Spider-Man, yeah. Spider-Man. Are you guys waiting for the new Spider-Man movie? I can't wait for the next the new Spider-Man movie, No Way Home. Venom. Venom. Spider-Man. I shall say this. Are you all ready? Exclamation mark, question mark. Centralize. Okay, so the intro will be like this. Hello everyone, it's me, Spider-Man. Are you all ready? Are you all ready for Venom? Alright, sounds like a good plan, right? Sounds like a good plan. So let's go. Oh, sorry. Ah, gosh, I did open this. No. Ah, gosh, what am I doing? Ah, I did. Ah, gosh. So let's start. Pew. Hello everyone, it's me, Asper. Shit, I forgot Spider-Man. Are you all ready for Venom? One more time. Take two. Alright. Oh, hi Sylvia. Hi Silva. Pain. VOA.FYI for information. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming over to my live stream. Thank you. I'm just an average, normal, regular Singaporean. So yeah, I feel like when you watch show, once you understand it, you will love it. Huh, interesting. Clear profits. Thank you so much. Thank you. And let's get back to my video for the film tourists. Let's go. Yo, 3 video in the chat. This never happens. True. This never happens. Thank you so much for keeping the chat so engaging and lively, so active. Thank you. Let's get back to my video. Let's get back to the video. Let's go. Pew. Hello everyone, it's me, Spider-Man. Are you all ready for Venom? One more time. Take two. Take three. That was so silly. That was so silly. I messed up my end. One last time. Pew. Hello everyone, it's me. I misclick. I miss the click. One more time. Take 4, I think. Pew. Hello everyone, it's me. And today, Spider-Man. Are you ready for Venom? Let's go. Oh gosh, I forgot this. I'm so silly, I'm so foolish, I'm so stupid, oh my gosh, I'm going crazy. One more time. One more time. Outtakes. Yeah, this is all outtakes, yes, this is all outtakes. This is all behind BTS behind the scenes stuff. Pew, 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 pew. Hello everyone, it's me, Spider-Man. Are you all ready for Venom? Let's go.
Sure, the Venom movie's tagline is "The world has enough superheroes" because this powerful alien symbiote appears to be an evil, man-eating menace. But have you ever stopped to
Anti-hero.
consider that Venom may actually be the victim
Huh?
in all of this? Give me 15 minutes, or honestly, whatever length this video winds up being, because who knows, the actual length of this video isn't finalized until like 5 steps after I record this.
Let's go editing, so much editing. Notes, oh no, more notes, final episodes.
Whatever it winds up being, stick around, because I think
Stick around.
I'm gonna be able to change your mind.
Film theory.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory!
Hello internet, welcome to Film Theory. Hello.
The show that's cringier than a Peter Parker dance break. Okay, maybe not that cringy, but close. Today we're talking about Venom, one of Spider-Man's most popular villains because, let's face it, who doesn't love themselves a dark doppelganger storyline, am I right? For those of you who need the quick rundown, Venom is one of several alien symbiotes to go around possessing human hosts in the Spider-Verse, giving him special abilities like shape-shifting, increased strength, and, abnormally long tongues.
Okay, so abnormally long tongues. Please keep this wholesome and family friendly. Thank you so much. Let's continue.
In the new movie, journalist Eddie Brock is investigating the Life Foundation, an organization whose experiments with the symbiotes are a whole lot more sinister than their super generic name implies. When the investigation goes awry, Eddie's body merges with the symbiote, unleashing Venom, and his ultimate ability, awkward one-liners.
Rolling down the street like a turd in the wind.
In all seriousness, though, there's an interesting side to Venom that no one has ever really stopped to consider, that he's the victim in all of this. And I don't mean that in the big bad evil science corporation did experiments on him or anything like that. I mean that for all the death and destruction that Venom may bring, the symbiote is really just a lost, confused, and scared entity. That Eddie Brock might be the thing that's actually infecting it. But to truly understand why, we first have to understand the nature of parasites. You see, once you
Oh, I get it. That was the anime Parasites. Migi.
strip away all the alien goo nonsense, Venom is the dictionary definition of a parasite.
I have a parasite.
An organism that lives in or on another organism, its host, and derives nutrients at the host's expense.
Alright, an organism that lives in or on another organism, its host, and derives nutrients at the host's expense.
Take, for instance, the case of the parasitic wasp and the orb-weaving spider, both of which live in Japan. The female wasp drops her eggs onto the back of the spider, which hatch and then become a larva. In larval form, the baby wasp takes control over the spider, causing it to build a web that is nearly 3 times stronger than any web the spider would ever build for itself in its normal life. It sounds a lot like Venom, and that increased strength he gives to his host bodies.
Feels good. It amplifies characteristics of its host.
The reason they do this is that the
Elementary.
larva will soon be helpless in a cocoon and needs a stronger web to protect it. A web that's heavier duty than what a spider would typically build. Once that web is built, the spider host is killed off. It's no longer useful. Man, just like a parasite. Always about that web bam, thank you ma'am. But for as similar as a spider parasite might be to Venom, there's actually a better fit when it comes to the real world. Toxoplasmosis gondii, which I've talked about very briefly years ago in one of the earliest and cringiest episodes of Game Theory.
Oh my god, that pet looks so young and cute as well.
That worked.
Basically, toxoplasmosis
Right now he's that bad.
hijacks the brain of a rat, forcing it to hide out in the open where it can be found and eaten by cats. Bad news for the rat, but great news for the parasite, because once it's inside the cat's stomach, it can morph into a cat-compatible form and then also reproduce inside the cat's digestive system. After reproducing, it gets pooped back out by the cat and gets into the water supply, where it's once again consumed by the rats. It's like a really gross version of the circle of life. Everything the poop touches will be your home. Now, you'd be totally forgiven if none of that immediately reminds you of Venom, but in both cases we're presented with a parasite whose behavior and abilities change based on the thing it's infecting.
Okay, so please remember that these contaminants may be around the water supply, so it's always a good idea to boil them away first. If I'm not wrong, it's 70 degrees Celsius. Then they'll start to... yeah, maybe. Don't fact check me.
Symbiotes affect Peter Parker and Eddie Brock and Cletus Cassidy very differently, just like toxoplasmosis changes tactics depending on whether it's inside of a cat, or inside of a rat, or even inside of a human. You see, toxoplasmosis can also affect humans. Now, I'm not gonna say it's gonna cause you to lay down in Mr. Fluffy's food dish in the hopes of him one day eating you, but studies have shown that this could have other effects on the human brain. Specifically, it might be linked to an increased risk of schizophrenia. According to researchers at the Stanley Medical Research Institute, quote, cat ownership in childhood has now been reported in 3 studies to be significantly more common in families in which their child is later diagnosed with schizophrenia or another serious mental illness, end quote. Furthermore, the researchers' finding, quote again, suggests that cat ownership in childhood is significantly more common in families in which the child later becomes seriously mentally ill, end quote. Further stating that an explanatory mechanism may be Toxoplasma gondii. Now, before everyone rushes off to put Mr. Fluffy up for adoption, I'd like to point out that there are more than 40 million people in the US who are currently suspected to be infected with the toxoplasmosis parasite, and only a teeny tiny fraction of those are diagnosed with full-blown schizophrenia. Even if the link between the two is scientifically valid, and remember, it is far from certainty, the chances of getting a schizophrenia diagnosis are still incredibly low. Just try to be hygienic and make sure that you're washing your hands after you empty the litter box.
True, so stay hygienic, especially in front of this possible parasites.
You're doing that, right? Right? Anyway, the link between toxoplasma and schizophrenia is really interesting, because in a lot of ways it parallels Eddie Brock's relationship with the venom parasite. For instance, one of the main symptoms of both schizophrenia and the symbiote is psychosis, a failure to understand reality and a higher propensity for hallucinations. And this is something that is immediately apparent from the trailer of the new movie. In that trailer, Eddie looks into a car window and sees the reflection of Venom staring back at him. This should be physically impossible. The shot is showing us things as Eddie sees them. In this case, he's seeing things that aren't really there. Eddie is also prone to auditory hallucinations, hearing a voice call his name,
Eddie.
Venom's voice commending him,
Outstanding.
etc.
Wow, it's like Randy Orton. I hear voices in my head, they talk to me, they understand, they talk to me.
Now wait, I hear you saying that isn't a hallucination. Venom is literally talking to him. And sure, that's true, but it is all still happening in his head. That conversation with Venom is the textbook definition of auditory hallucinations, and one of the clearest signs that Eddie might be headed off to schizophrenia. But why does any of this matter? I mean, sure, Venom and toxoplasmosis might share some similarities, but even I, with my over-the-top theories, won't go so far as to say that the symbiote is just a hyper-evolved form of this cat parasite. I don't need another Deadpool as Ernest Hemingway moment on my hands. No, the reason I bring up the parallels here is that whether we're talking about parasitic wasps, parasites that warp rat brains, or fictional alien parasites, one thing connects all of them: a need for survival. It's easy to forget, but parasites are fighting for survival just like any other living creature, and they're using whatever techniques that they have at their disposal. It's why the wasp gets the spider to build a stronger web, so it can reproduce. It's why toxoplasma forces the rat to get eaten, so it can reproduce inside of the cat's stomach. But now, take a moment to look at Venom's behavior. We see him presumably eat a guy in the middle of a convenience store and then just leave a witness. If you need to eat a human to survive, why wouldn't you just track down victims to eat in, I don't know, dark, secluded alleyways instead of, I don't know, the middle of the street where 6 people, yes, 6 people, count them, are watching, one of whom appears to be recording the whole thing on a cell phone. Behaviors like this result in Eddie, and by proxy Venom, repeatedly getting attacked by thugs, having to run away, having to fight for their lives. In Spider-Man 3, Venom being evil gets himself the worst enemy possible, Spider-Man. Any way you slice it, this behavior is simply not conducive to helping Venom survive.
True, if you have to fight the main hero of the story, Spider-Man, it's a bit hard to understand
It is
why.
instead doing the exact opposite and putting him at active risk. So what is really going on here? Well, it's all explained by toxoplasmosis. You see, changing rats' behavior so that they get eaten by cats helps the toxoplasma survive and reproduce. Inducing psychosis in humans, however, does none of those things. It is a loss for the human, who starts to develop mental issues, but it's also a loss for the toxoplasma, who can't move on from the human to the cat's digestive tract and reproduce because, well, there just aren't that many man-eating cats out there. The problem is toxoplasma didn't evolve to exist in humans. It evolved for the cat-rat style of life. The fact that it also happens to affect humans is entirely accidental, an unintended side effect. This relates to a field called zoonosis, infectious diseases that begin in animals but can eventually be transmitted into humans.
The field of study on zoonosis, awesome.
Like bovine spongiform encephalopathy, probably better known as mad cow disease. There's also bird flu, and probably the single most notorious example in history, the Black Death in 14th century Europe, which
No! The most notorious one is the current one that we are experiencing right now. The current global pandemic. Okay, understandably this video came out in the year 2018, so it has not experienced 2020, 2021, maybe even 2022.
was spread by rat fleas that went on to kill human hosts. One of the reasons that these kinds of diseases can be so fatal to humans is that they didn't evolve to affect humans. They evolved to affect some other animal. And the fact that they can infect and kill humans is just the accidental side effect, which is usually a pretty bad evolutionary strategy if you're a parasite. But this is what seems to be happening in the case of the symbiotes. We're so used to seeing Venom and other symbiotes like Carnage and Scream attaching to human hosts that you might make the mistake of assuming that the symbiotes naturally exist to bond with humans. But that's not the case at all. Canonically speaking, the symbiotes were originally created by the primordial deity Null in order to slaughter the Celestials, basically space gods from the beginning of time.
Oh my god, they're actually talking about Null and Celestials. Celestial appeared in the MCU already, so maybe Null will also appear. Oh wow, it's gonna open up cans of worms.
You remember Nowhere from the Guardians of the Galaxy movies?
Yeah,
How it's
Celestial.
in the shape of a head? Well, yeah, in the comics, that's technically a Celestial's severed head where people are parking their boats. Anyway, it shouldn't come as a big surprise that an organism created in a separate part of the galaxy with the intent of bonding with space Gzi would probably experience unintended side effects when trying to bond with a human host. It's a learning process, which might explain why Venom's behavior sometimes seems erratic at best, and completely against his own survival at worst. In fact, if anything, it might be the symbiotes themselves who are affected more by this bonding process. We often see the Venom symbiote as something who takes control of humans, but the link works both ways. Though the symbiotes were originally created with evil intentions, one of the quirks of their programming is that they take on some attributes of their host. In many cases, symbiotes feel that their existence has no meaning, and one of the reasons they bond with a host is to give their lives a simple purpose. This is one of the reasons why when Venom first bonded with Peter Parker in the comics, the thing it did was to go out at night and fight crime. The meaning for its own existence came from Peter Parker, who spends most of his time fighting crime. However, this had an unintended side effect. The symbiotes who had bonded with benevolent hosts infected the symbiotic hive mind with traits such as nobility and honor. The good symbiotes eventually rebelled against Null and imprisoned him at the center of their artificial planet in the Andromeda Galaxy, eventually creating the agents of the cosmos as a force not of chaos, but for good. If you needed proof that symbiotes weren't designed with humans in mind, that seems like a pretty good indicator. The fact that noble humans were essentially able to reprogram an evil alien symbiote hive mind to be benevolent seems to indicate that the symbiotes are not prepared for the effects of what happens when they bond with a completely new organism.
Oh, so you're trying to say that symbiotes are not necessarily good or not necessarily bad. They are just neutral. It's like something like a tool, something like that. Coincidental tool that good people use good tools. Okay, good people using the tools will become good, sort of. Bad people who use the tools will become bad. Right? Oh, no. Bad people, good people, either ways. People with good intention and bad intentions. Yeah. I'm sorry.
In this case, a human. Whether that meant turning over a new leaf and rebelling against their evil creator, or simply threatening to eat a dude in the middle of the street and turning him into a turd. Venom is on an unfamiliar planet fighting for his own survival. And one of the only weapons he has at his disposal is imperfect mankind. He's scared, he's threatened, and he's doing his best to survive. The trailer for Venom seems to be trying to sell us on the idea that Venom is the one who's corrupting Eddie Brock. But who knows? In the end, Eddie might just be the one who ends up purifying Venom. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And you know what I thought to myself when I first saw Venom? Wow, that guy is not taking great care of his skin. I mean, look at this, you guys. That is more than a little bit of sunburn and overly enthusiastic exfoliation. I guess not everyone gets themselves Dollar Shave Club every month, which is a shame since I think a lot of this movie could have been resolved if old Eddie Brock over there might have cleaned up his act a bit, did a little visit to the orthodontist, maybe treated himself to some manly pampering. Dollar Shave Club, our sponsor for today's episode, goes beyond merely its namesake of shaving and makes stuff like the calming body cleanser. Clearly something that Venom has not been treating himself to recently, because if he had, he wouldn't be looking so rough around the edges, shall we say. On the other hand, maybe he's having a really bad day with razor burn. Yeah, I know, razor burn sucks, bro. That's why I'm telling you that a little Dollar Shave Club Easy Shave Butter will really take the edge off, so to speak. So you'll be back to breaking hearts instead of breaking basically everything else in this movie. I relate to feeling like a monster sometimes and needing to take better care of myself, pamper myself, so to speak. So if you too have the monster building inside of you and need a chance to relax, treat yourself to the new Dollar Shave Club starter set. Dollar Shave Club basically put together a starter set of their most popular products, including that body wash and that shave butter I mentioned, which are both awesome, all in a box for just $5, along with their executive razor. The razor that I just showed my father who was visiting from out of town the other day, and he's like, wow, that is a really good razor. And I'm like, yeah, and it's inexpensive. And he's like, that's great, what a great service. So Dollar Shave Club is Dad Pat approved. And not only is their stuff awesome and cheaper than you're gonna find in store, and also delivered right to your door, but they also make a lot of these episodes possible. They support this channel, but most importantly of all, they support you. Looking, smelling, and feeling fantastic. You can go check them out at dollarshaveclub.com/filmtheory. FILMTHEORY. Right there at the top of the description, just begging to be clicked on. Please, I'm just a lonely link. Make my existence worth it. So go on, make that link's existence worth it. And once you're on the other end, remember, it's only $5. That is like the same amount of money that you spent on coffee this morning. And that certainly didn't make your skin feel baby soft. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go wrangle Eddie Brock and talk to him about the importance of moisturizing.
Well, anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that this video has been very interesting and unique to watch. Don't think so too? If you do like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and comment down below if you have anything to share with us. Don't forget to follow my channel, and I sincerely appreciate all of the support and encouragement for my work. Thank you all so much, and hope to see you all in my next video. But hey, that's just a theory, a film theory, and cut. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Thank you so much once again. Bye bye. Thank you. Subscribe. Alright, it's good. Alright, I'm good. Just now there was a bit off. The camera was a bit off. Alright, let me just look at the chat. Go audio, I'm hating nice. Stay Sylvia, yeah, I feel like you watch show. Awesome. Yo, 3 people in the chat. Wow, outtakes. Upload together outtakes. That sounds like a good idea. That sounds like a good idea. Maybe I will just, maybe I'll create, maybe I'll, maybe I'll think about it. Like create outtakes for my live streams. Yo, you got 4 people. Yeah, can you profits? I know, right? 4 people in chat. Wow, that's awesome. That's just really awesome. Feel right through the cracks. Now I'm trying to get back. Alright, next video. I forgot that.
In 2014, Big Hero 6 fast-forwarded us to the year of 2150 to see a world where science is practically...
Alright, first things first. Alright, before I noticed that before every single video, right, I need to like breathe in, breathe out at least like 1 or 2 times. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Right, sounds good. Feels good. Feels good. It really feels good that I can have such good breathing. Alright, so anyways, let's continue. Keep your profits, Liam, Ivan, Sylvia, and Jackie. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming over and becoming so active in chat. Oh gosh. You know, if you know Vine Sauce Joe, your favorite, you're a fan of Sylvia Garner. Okay, maybe I go search it up. For sure. Okay, Profits, maybe I'll go search it up. Thank you so much for recommending. Thank you. Ah. Okay, hi everyone, it's me. Hello everyone, it's me. And today, let's find some super advanced. Okay. Super advanced. Awesome. Hello everyone, it's me, and today let's find some super advanced robots together. Let's go.
Back in 2014, Big Hero 6 fast-forwarded us to the year 2150 to see a world where science is practically magic. Between Honey Lemon's chem lab in a purse able to summon every element on the periodic table, Tamago's electromagnetic rollerblades, and Baymax's cutting-edge diagnostic technology. Anyway you slice it, Disney's vision of the future is filled with technological fantasies beyond our wildest imagination.
And especially there's the show dedicated for Baymax. That's awesome.
Which makes it all the more mind-blowing to me that 136 years later, amidst it all, we're still using iPhones.
Everybody say hero!
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory.
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory. Hello.
Just as squishy as Baymax. Not nearly as useful, however. So the other day I was binge buying a bunch of Disney movies on Google Play since Disney is launching their own Netflix-style subscription. Own the things I'm paying for! Whew, Millennial Angst talking. And already movies like Cinderella, Little Mermaid, and Aladdin aren't available, which is just sad. I just want to own a movie. Anyway, as I was saying, this binge session got me to revisit a bunch of Disney movies that I kind of overlooked or skimmed over the first time that I watched them, and one such movie was Big Hero 6. And you know what stood out? Not just the impressive futuristic technology, but the sheer volume and variety of it in this movie. And
yes, moreover, it's really awesome that they are doing such research, such animated films about scientific breakthroughs. That's just wonderful to help nurture and grow and improve and educate, teach the next generation of kids to love science more.
An inflatable medical robot, plasma weaponry, a deadly sign-spitting exosuit, but by far the most incredible thing, or things that we see in the movie, are these, the microbots. Our main character, Hero, that's Hero with an H-I-R-O, not to be confused with Big Hero 6, H-E-R-O of the movie's title, invents the
Oh, fun fact, do you know that my friend in Japan, like legit, this person, this individual, his name is called Hero, and then he got surname, and then he got nickname. He got nickname which is Hero, of course. The friends call it nickname. So it's like nickname plus name equals to Hero. Oh my gosh, what am I doing?
these deceptively simple robots that, when their powers combine, can practically do it all. The technology is so innovative that it does the impossible. It impresses everyone at the science fair. Which, let's be honest, it's the science fair. Anything that goes beyond, I dropped teeth in soda and made them dissolve is gonna be impressive. Let alone, I invented a technology that will revolutionize robotics. These microbots catch the eye of our villain, who looks like he was ripped straight out of Fortnite Season 5, and he ends up stealing the technology to achieve #1 victory royale. Anyway,
Victory Royale at the science fair, yeah!
all of it got me wondering, could a technology like this actually work? Will I, sometime in the next 136 years, be able to control a swarm of microbots using only my mind to, I don't know, do whatever micro-robots controlled by your mind would do? Make a smoothie? Film theorists, start warming up those trifold boards now, because today we're looking at Hero's winning science fair project and teaching you how to steal what he did to get yourself an A+.
Yeah, but do note that it's about 100 years plus later in the future. A bit difficult, right?
Oh yeah, a change to the history of modern robotics. Why is it always a trifold board? Are those things used for literally anything else? The way Hero introduces these things in the movie make him seem like he's a reincarnated Steve Jobs, showing us the iPhone 70, now with even fewer features and faster planned obsolescence. But looking past Hero's hype, what exactly would it take to invent the microbots that we see in the movie? I think you can break it down into 3 clear components. 1, the microbots are small and are all capable of moving independently. 2,
Size small.
the microbots are capable of moving in a coordinated manner, with hundreds or even thousands of them acting together in response to a single command.
Good control.
Last of all, and this one's the doozy, number 3, the microbots are controlled by the user's mind via a neural interface.
Psychic powers.
Think it, and it happens.
The microbots are controlled with this neurotransmitter. I think what I want them to do, they do it.
And we have to do all of that within the next 136 years. Think it can be done? Place your bets now in the comments and then rewatch this video in 2150 and tell me if you were right.
Well, by then, you can ask your great-grandchildren which, fun fact, your great-grandchildren will be middle-aged. Yeah.
I'll just be hanging out in my stasis pod waiting to be revitalized by then. So, you know, I'll be looking for a bit of excitement. First, the size. The microbots are, as you might guess from the name, individually very small, looking less than an inch long. And as it turns out, this is entirely possible, not just in the future, but today, right now, 2018, as you are watching this video. In fact, real-world robotics actually get a lot smaller than what Hero's showing. As far back as 2005, scientists were creating robots that were literally named micro-robots because they were only 60 micrometers wide and 250 micrometers long. So tiny that you'd need a microscope to actually see them moving. Hey Hero, if your robots aren't small enough for their length to be measured in micrometers, maybe you should consider giving them a different name, like millibots.
Alright, fun fact, when you mentioned millibots instead of microbots, right? It's because, if I remember correctly, it's giga, tera, mega, kilo, hecto, deca. This is centi, milli, micro, nano, pico. So, one more time. Giga, tera, mega, giga, tera, giga, mega, kilo, hecto, deca. Deci, centi, milli, micro, nano, pico. So micro comes after milli. So milli is a bit bigger than micro. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I still remember it. Wow.
Or centibots. It's not quite as catchy, but it is certainly more accurate. Truth in advertising, my friend. Now, granted, these real-world micro-robots are a far cry from the micro-robots that we see in the movie. These 60 micrometer robots can move along like an inchworm, but they're not useful for all that much. So a better question would be, could you actually make a useful robot as small as the microbots in Big Hero 6? The answer is, yet again, a surprising yes. In 2015, scientists at Harvard unveiled the Robo-Bee, a drone whose body is shorter than the diameter of a penny. Unlike the micro-robots, which seemed like more of an experiment to simply see how small they could make the tech, the Robo-Bees are actually small for a specific reason. A small size lets them fly more easily, and they're so light that they can cling to surfaces like an actual bee would using static electricity. It also has the really nifty function of carrying a tiny camera, which means that it has real-world applications as the world's smallest spy drone.
Instead of James Bond 007, it'll be point 0.00000000007. That's small!
How about that the next time you feel an insect landing on your neck? Maybe it's not some angry hornet coming to plant a stinger in your flesh. Maybe it's just some foreign government who wants really, really close-up photos of the inside of your ear. Suffice it to say, size-wise, Hero's microbots go solidly in the territory of not only possible in the year 2150, but actually already done in the year 2015. Okay, so it's one thing to make a robot
No, then right now it's in the year 2021, so that is 6 years ago.
small, but it's entirely another thing to have an entire swarm of robots that are all able to move together. And this isn't just as simple as have a bunch of micro-robots and tell them all to do the same thing. When Hero's microbots form into the hand and wave at the audience, think about how hard that action is. Some of the bots have to serve as the wrist, while others have to form the joints of the individual fingers. Each one of those has to know its position to serve that function, and then on top of it all, they all have to move in conjunction with all the other micro-robots to get into that specific position and then execute its function in tandem with everyone else.
And note that he is under the shape of hexagon, so yeah, hexagon, the bestagon. Get it?
And yet, for as difficult as it may be, looking at the research, we once again learned that this isn't simply the stuff of science fiction. Hero's microbots combine two fields of study: swarm robotics, where a bunch of separate smaller robots work together, and modular design, the idea of taking a small number of modules that can then be combined and recombined in a variety of shapes and configurations. For an example of a self-configuring robot, see the Rebus, reconfigurable bipedal snake, which is capable of moving
Reconfigurable bipedal snake.
As a two-legged biped walker like a human, while also having the ability to move around on the ground like a snake. Or if you're in the mood for a larger swarm of robots all working together, well, look no further than Harvard yet again, where their robotics teams have also managed to create a 1,000-robot swarm capable of assembling itself into various shapes. Sure, it's nothing nearly as complex as Hero's Microbot Swarm yet, where the total number of microbots is closer to millions, not thousands. But we're on the right track, and the idea of catching up to Hero's Microbots by the year 2150
100 years later, it's possible.
seems easy when you consider how far along these two fields are. So in
Literally 1 generation, 2 generations, 3 generations, 4 generations, heck, even 5 generations away.
terms of size and coordinated movement, Hero's Microbots look not only realistically attainable, but even currently possible. However, there's one huge part of Big Hero 6's tech that seems to stretch the limits of believability: the neural transmitter.
The microbots are controlled with this neurotransmitter. I think what I want them to do, they do it.
This feels like the part of the movie where things move out of science fiction and into the realm of fantasy. At least, that's what you might be thinking.
Final Fantasy!
But not only are neural interfaces a real field of study, it's a field of study that has shown some real results. Surprisingly enough, the idea of creating machines capable of reading and reacting to human thought is pretty old, dating all the way back to the 1970s. One specific case that we know about comes from a 1975 report titled Feasibility Study for Design of a Biocybernetic Communication System, which is based on the findings of a 3-year study conducted by the Stanford Research Institute and funded by DARPA, which I'm sure you've heard of at some point in a Marvel movie or on TV. Basically, it stands for Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, and is an agency of the United States Department of Defense responsible for development of emerging technologies that the military uses. And yes, if you're wondering, it is always military defense spending that gets us these weird fringe sciences that push the limits of what's possible. This was especially true when you had an entire country willing to do whatever it took to outwit the Soviets in the Cold War. Anyway, the purpose of the study was, quote, to test the feasibility of designing a close-coupled two-way communication link between man and computer, using biological information from muscles of the vocal apparatus and the electrical activity of the brain during overt and covert speech, end quote. So to break that down into ordinary English, the thinking is that our brain has two ways of delivering words: overt speech, speaking out loud, and covert speech, which is thinking to yourself. The idea is that
Overt speech, covert speech.
even when you're not opening your mouth to say words, simply thinking a sentence to yourself will activate the parts of your brain that process speech and language, just as if you had actually opened your mouth and spoken those words aloud. And these brain signals can then be read and translated and acted upon by a machine. In short, you could think thoughts to a computer instead of saying them out loud. And they weren't wrong in their thinking around this. The study found that the electroencephalography readouts, or EEG readouts, which measure electrical impulses in different parts of the brain, for overt speech actually matched up with the ones for covert speech. Now, granted, the results were far from perfect. One source of error was that if subjects were distracted or had a twitchy eye, the signals from the brain telling the eyes to move would interfere with the signals for the speech. But according to the report, once you accounted for those errors, the match between what the machine read out and what people were actually thinking ranged from 52% to 72%. Now,
you must understand that this kind of studies, right, this kind of research was done decades ago, correct? But this possible future that we're talking about, Big Hero 6 scenario, is that it is literally century away. So instead of decades of studies, it is centuries of studies, which is awesome. Awesome.
Those numbers might not sound all that high, but think about what that's saying. You've got what is essentially a mind-reading robot that's as much as 72% accurate. That is pretty darn impressive. And that was way back in the 1970s. And in case you needed any more evidence that Hero's dream of neurobots that can react to your thoughts might one day be a reality, see this headline from September of 2018. Yeah, the year that we are currently in, and
No, the year that we're currently in is 2021. This video came out in year 2018.
month ago, stating that it's now possible to telepathically communicate with a drone swarm. Now, there are a lot of caveats here, the main one being that it's done via a chip that has to be surgically implanted into the brain. This isn't just some headband that you're gonna slap onto your forehead and take off at will. But if you're the kind of person who's into getting invasive brain surgery so you can show off your latest tech gadget, well, the future is now, friends. Although you might not want to hop on that boat too soon. We all know what happened to Google Glass. In all seriousness, though, most of the people who've been test subjects for this technology are people who are already having brain operations to help solve neurological issues like epilepsy, and early results are shockingly positive. How cool is it that even the most fantastical seeming technology that we see in Big Hero 6 is actually feasible? Not just in 100 years, not just in 50 years, but right now, today. We're already there when it comes to size. Engineering swarm robots is quickly scaling up, and with the right equipment, you can even control drones with your mind right now. Even though film theory is usually in the business of ruining your childhood, or honestly just your favorite movies, since Big Hero 6 is only 4 years old at this point, that's not the case.
Oh my gosh, it's not 4 years old, it's going to be 10 years old soon. It's going to be 10 years old soon. Right now it's December 2021.
Today, I am here to make your favorite movies come true. Well, except for the fact that Hero's device here is impressive to everyone, but he's simply just ripping off technology that exists today, 100 years prior to the events of that movie. Oh, and
100 plus years.
the fact that the microbots managed to perform amazing feats of strength
Literally more than 10 decades ago. Literally more than 10 decades ago.
without ever being at risk of draining the teeny tiny batteries that they run on. In a film where it's established that simply waddling around San Francisco for a day is enough to drain Baymax's battery to practically zero. Microbots, mind control, no problem. Effective batteries, now that is crazy talk. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And if you want to see more about how modular robotics technology is making Transformers into a reality, well then
Transformers, robots in disguise.
logically move your mouse over to the left and click the box. Or alternatively, if you want to see me ruin another of your favorite Disney movies, that's the box to the right. And
Transformers, modern meets the eye. Get it? The eye.
make sure you subscribe because we've been hovering just under 7 million subscribers for a long time now, and it would be so sweet to get 7 million subscribers on this channel before
Oh my gosh, you reached more than 10 already. You have reached more than 10 million subscribers on the Film Theorists channel.
the end of the year. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you for something a bit scarier and a bit more Halloween-y next week.
Subscribe! Thank you all so much for being so supportive and positive, and I hope to see you all in my next video. If you do like this video, please remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel, and comment down below if you have anything to share with us. Don't forget to follow my channel, and I hope to see you all in my next video. Thank you so much. Sincerest appreciation and gratitude towards all your positivity, uplifting, motivating words for me. Thank you so much. And but hey, that's just a theory. A film theory! And cut. Thank you so much. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye! Fun fact, if you're watching this video like a century later, 2 centuries later, I'm pretty sure I'm not around anymore. I'll be I mean, even my grandchildren will probably be but, well, tell me how is it? I can't wait for it. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching this video. Hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye! Keep it positive and uplifting. Alright, I look at all the Film Theorists videos, and if you hurry, you might finish that channel early. Yeah, I might finish that channel early, but I have to upload then 1 video per day, you know, 1 video per day. Because I recognize if I was to upload multiple different videos in 1 single day, people will start to think that, well, he's just producing this video cheaply. And then that's the human psychology in which the more videos that is being pumped up in a single day, less people will watch it. That's what I feel from the analytics. That's what I see from the analytics. So 1 video per day. 1 video per day, keep it profits. And I upload to this Humdrum Singaporean channel. Yeah. It will probably take around until the month of July, in which I can keep up, I can get to the latest videos from the game theorists, the film theorists, and the food theorists. Yeah, to be honest, I like watching the live stream more. Because got all the outtakes, right? Because got all the outtakes, right? I mean, the videos, you can rewatch the videos, but the outtakes are just incredibly cute and adorable. And I can interact with you. With you. Yes, you. I can interact with you. The chat more with you. It's like, how's it doing? Right now it's gonna be soon, right? So yeah, it's quite cute. Thank you so much. Next video. Once again, it's very important to breathe in, breathe out after every single video.
At the Warrens Occult Museum in Connecticut.
Alright, and July, I think the others left. Now I'm the only one. Thank you so much, Kiwi Profits. I mean, people come and go most of the time, and you can always, like how to say, if your computer is powerful enough, right, you can always keep a tab on. You can always keep a tab on and just reduce the volume until like 1% volume. Yeah, 1% volume. So that after 10 or 20 minutes, you can just check in on me. It's like, hi, how everyone doing? I can interact with chat more. Yeah, that's normally how most people do it, right? I suppose, maybe. Hello everyone, it's me, and today, stay safe and understanding. P.S. I'm sorry for the horror. Alright, let's go. Hello everyone, it's me, and today, please stay safe and understanding. P.S. I'm really sorry for the horror. Let's start.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory.
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory. Hello, please stay safe and understanding. Thank you so much.
The show that believes we have nothing to fear but fear itself. Well, that. And demonetization!
Oh!
Now, is it...
There's a very real fear about it. Real fear. Demonetization!
Anyone who's ever watched me play a horror game can tell you I'm a pretty big scaredy cat. But here's the thing, I'll get startled for a moment, but it's pretty rare that horror movies stick with me and keep me from getting sleep at night because 99% of the time I can just rationalize that it's a movie. Sure, great white sharks, or genetically mutated great white sharks,
Bigger, smarter, faster, meaner. Deep blue seas.
or prehistoric super great white sharks are scary in the moment, but their movies are works of complete fiction. And while you certainly got some slasher movies based on real-life serial killers, I deal with psychotic people all the time. My job is on the internet after all. But
Oh! Reading the comment sections down below. A bit. Yeah. A bit. Understandable.
Doom-ching. No, what's really unnerving to me is that little voice in the back of your head that says that supernatural phenomena might actually be true, which is why the Conjuring movies tend to be so terrifying. Because not only are these films well-shot psychological horror pieces, but because they claim to be retellings of real events. If you're not familiar, the Conjuring universe includes 2 main series titles about haunted houses and demonic possessions, 2 Annabelle movies about a doll that's haunted because, I mean, just look at the thing, and now The Nun, which is about a demonic nun whose eyes seem to indicate an advanced case of jaundice.
Yep, and think of all the money involved. Literally multi-millions of dollars. I think. Oh my god, I can earn so much money involved.
Well, the truth about the Annabelle movie should be taken with a grain of salt, and The Nun should be taken with, like, a kilo of salt. The Conjuring and its sequel are actually pretty interesting. You see, Ed and Lorraine Warren, the main characters, are the real names of the real ghost hunters who claim these are real cases where these things really happened. And that got me thinking about 2 things. Number 1, that I don't have nearly enough holy water in my house. And number 2, just how true are these ghost stories? I mean, these movies are creepy as all get out, and you're telling me they're real? How worried do I actually need to be?
And moreover, I really respect the filmmakers for making this. The editor, the producers, the cameraman, all these individuals that make this sort of scary movies are really hardworking. For me, my experience of being a 僵尸, that is a Chinese version of like a vampire, zombie, something like that they can control lah. Alright, my experience of being a 僵尸 in a scary movie for back in my younger days lah, of course. Oh my gosh, I feel so young right now. No, 2 years ago. Back in 2019, yeah. The production is really, like, you really respect their arts for it, you know. That's why I really, yeah. Let's continue making this from a point of view of a creative and imaginary point of view as a content creator. Yes.
Are they real insofar as Ed and Lorraine claim these to be true stories, or are they actually supported by real evidence? Are they true stories, or are they true stories? So today, not only do I want to explore how real The Conjuring gets, but also how true a story needs to be for it to claim that it's based on a true story.
I really like that as a content creator, judging about it, right? Not judging, more like talking about it, sharing about it, right? I really like this kind of cutscenes involved and zoom in, zoom out, pan left, pan right, zoom left, zoom right. Yes.
So, turn off the lights and don't turn around to see that shadow crawling up behind you. Because today we're looking for the scariest thing of all this Halloween, the truth.
New England, 1970s. The Perrin family moves into a nondescript farmhouse, only to start experiencing strange noises and smells. Carolyn, the mother, reports that she's being attacked by some sort of female demon. Enter Ed and Lorraine Warren, ghost hunters, who determine the evil presence to be a witch named Bathsheba, an old crone who once lived in the house, sacrificed her week-old child to the devil, and then killed herself in 1863. Carolyn becomes possessed by Bathsheba, the Warrens perform an exorcism, and the spirit is driven out.
This is the story of the first Conjuring, but how much of that is real? Well, for starters, Ed and Lorraine Warren were really the top demonologist and medium duo of the era. Can't really imagine how many people were actively competing with them for that title, but regardless, they had a laundry list of famous...
No, okay. Of that era, in that particular locations, around USA. Yeah. So maybe there are other individuals like that, but around the world that we do not know of because, well, no camera members, no film, and even if they do exist, we will not pay much attention because it's not English speaking for that matter.
Paranormal investigations under
Which, fun fact, is really unfortunate. Really want to represent each and every culture, each and every language, each and every religion, each and every different people involved throughout history, throughout humanity's tens of thousands of histories properly. Now that's good, isn't
their
it?
belts, including ones that inspired movies not in the Conjuring franchise, like the Amityville Horror and A Haunting in Connecticut. One of those cases was indeed a spirit named Bathsheba haunting the Perrin family, whose names weren't changed for the film. In interviews, Andrea Perrin, the oldest child, did say that the movie captured the essence of what they were going through. She's been upfront about witnessing her mother's exorcism and has gone on record to say,
I thought I was going to pass out. My mother began to speak a language not of this world, in a voice not her own. Her chair levitated, and she was thrown across the room.
Okay, I'm going to pause that for a while first.
She was thrown across the room.
Okay, sorry, one more time. Sorry, I'm going to pause it for a while first.
Across the room.
I thought I was going to pass out. Maybe, okay, so back in the days, right, the architecture in that part of locations have bad conditioning, bad repair, and it's all in all not as updated in comparison to right now that you're watching right now. Right now, while watching this video, your infrastructure is probably significantly better with better air conditioning, airflow, heating elements, or if it's too hot, cooling elements involved, air conditioning, yes. So, and also better medicines, maybe you have a better dietary facts about it. Next is speak different languages. Come on, it's not that hard. Human history have tens of thousands of languages, but the reason why I can only speak to you in the English language, one language, instead of multiple tens of thousands of languages is because, well, we favor favoritism. But that doesn't mean that she can't speak another different language. Right? If she was starting to speak in the German language, doesn't mean that your parents, your mother, doesn't previously know of the German language first, but have not spoken it for the past 60, 70 years. It is possible. It is really possible. Right? It's really, really possible. Case and point. My friends, okay, I call them friends, but they're more uncles lah. They have not spoken their native language for so many decades. Even after they have grandchildren, they have not spoken for so many decades. And suddenly ask, do you still remember how to speak your language? Yeah, I've not spoken it for 50, 60 years, but they can still speak it. They can still speak it if they try quite hard. They have to, the memory pauses inside their brain just start. Not that when that happens, they are in their 70s, 80s already. Yeah. Next is, in a different voice, not her own. Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? I can do it with all these words, right? It's just pure acting skills. Next is her chair levitation. Back in the days, the room is all darkened. They do have good lighting involved. So maybe there's a mechanism. If it's against the wall, I can put like a gimmick wall, something like a magician trick. And then last but not least, she was thrown across the room. That's very easy. I can throw myself across the room. It's very, very easy. 1, 2, 3. Back. This is just normal hide and seek. But I can just throw myself across the room. Or maybe there's a accomplice involved in which they can pull you. That's how the action movies that you can see right now. Okay, next is...
Whoever the spirit was, she perceived herself to be a mistress of this house, and she resented the competition my mother posed for that position.
That's a very good script if the person is just acting.
The father Roger had similar things to say.
She was possessed. Her entire body was distorted, and it lasted several hours
Yoga. Have you tried yoga?
until they demonized her.
Now, of course, those are just interviews. It's easy enough for people to lie. The Bathsheba
Yeah,
bit, on the
easy
other
to lie.
hand, gives us something to work with. According to Andrea Perrin,
Mrs. Warren came into the house knowing nothing. She stepped into the kitchen and said, I feel a dark presence. and her name is Bathsheba.
Alright, case in point. The very fact that you invite someone called Mrs. Warren, that is well known for this particular thing. If you ask a martial artist to just enter a room, it's like, I feel like there's a fighting spirit. If you ask an architecture to come to the room, I feel like the structure over here is something. If you ask someone that is famous for something and come over, they will just immediately say something about in regards to the particular field in which they experience it. They're more experienced in, they're more proficient in the major that they major in, yeah.
This is where fact and fiction get tough to distinguish. I did some more digging, and in the area where the Perrin family lived, there definitely was a woman named Bathsheba Sherman who lived there in the mid-19th century. But it doesn't appear that she lived in the same house as the Perrins, and there's definitely no hard evidence that she was a witch. It appears that 3 out of her 4 children died young, but this was also a time when agitated babies were prescribed gin and opium to help them calm down, so suffice it to say that losing a few kids in the 1800s wasn't exactly proof of witchcraft.
Which unfortunately is true throughout the entire age all around the world. Literally all around the world. Regardless if you are in the USA, if you are in the Europe, if you are in the Asian continents, heck, even if you are not of these particular places, you will still die young. You will literally still die young. You have like what, multiple children. Let's just say I have 8, 10 children. And it's not surprisingly, out of 10 children, heck, even 12 children, 2 died, 3 died before they turned 18 years old, or when they turned 18 years old. So if I have 12 children, 3 died. It's just a common situation in which I only have 9 children left to pass on the genes.
Apparently, the rumors of Bathsheba's witchcraft started when an infant mysteriously died in her care, killed by a large sewing needle that was impaled into the base of the skull. But there are no records of any charges against Bathsheba that actually stuck. It's unclear how seriously people took these rumors, considering she was buried in the town cemetery next to the graves of her children, which doesn't seem like something a Christian community would do for someone who is thought to be a Satanist. That said, for Lorraine Warren to walk into the house and come up with the name Bathsheba is interesting and awfully specific until you consider that the Warrens were brought onto the case in the first place by a local paranormal group, meaning that they very well could have been fed the local legend before meeting the Perrins. So overall, the people, the place, and the details of the haunting appear to be real, even if the actual ghosts and witches might not be. You would expect the sequels and spin-offs of The Conjuring to have much less basis in real events, but
having said that, right, me being a content creator, if I was to direct something like that, if I was to produce a video similar to this, I would say that it's a very well-wrote storyline with good production spirit and budget as well.
That doesn't seem to be the case. The Conjuring 2 is based off the Enfield poltergeist case in England in the 1970s, which again, the Warrens investigated. In this one, Janet Hodgson, the second oldest of 4 children, finds herself possessed by the spirit of an elderly man, Bill Wilkins, who states that he wants to reclaim his home.
Janet, are you alright?
My name is Bill Wilkins, and I'm 72 years old.
And unlike in the first Conjuring, that isn't just a scene from the movie, but real life. The BBC made a documentary about the alleged haunting, and investigators have lots of audio of 11-year-old Janet Hodgson sounding more like a 100-year-old coal miner who smokes like a chimney.
Is anybody there? No.
It takes a while, but listen long enough, and she eventually identifies herself as an old man named Bill Wilkins, who died of a brain hemorrhage in a very specific chair in the house.
I had an hemorrhage, and I fell asleep, and I died in a chair in the corner downstairs.
This is a nice story made up by the kid, right? Well, maybe, until you consider that Bill Wilkins' son Terry listened to the recordings and identified the voice as sounding very much like his father's, and that the cause and place of the death were correct.
Okay, so either that is very well educated, that is a very good, the person memorized the script very well, or very good acting.
If that wasn't creepy enough, the events that caused the Warrens to get involved in the first place are pretty irrefutable. In both the movie and in real life, a policewoman gets called to the Hodgson home in the 70s and says that she saw chairs sliding across the floor, going so far as to sign an official affidavit to say as much. Most of the time in these ghost stories, it's the family who has something to gain by lying. It's hard to say how a third-party police officer called in to investigate would benefit from doing something like that. Over a period of the next 18 months, more...
Okay, that I have to agree with you. If the police officers have to report on it, why? They literally have nothing to benefit from it. It's a literally independent third party in this kind of spooky events. So yeah, that is not sus, that is just understandable. Mappa is correct.
More than 30 people, including neighbors, psychic researchers, and journalists, said that they saw heavy furniture moving on its own accord and objects being thrown across the room. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm just gonna turn all the lights on in the house and grab myself a crucifix or 5. And that's gonna be a big heaping helping a nope. Nope, 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 nope. When it comes to Annabelle and Annabelle creation, these movies are based on a real spooky doll that the Warrens investigated before the events of the Conjuring movies.
Not gonna lie, I'm very glad that I'm doing this in the afternoon. So, yeah. And not at night. At night, I'll be like...
According to The Demonologist, a book that chronicled cases taken by Ed and Lorraine Warren, the Annabelle doll had been a gift, but began to move on its own, leave written notes, and move objects around the room. The doll itself is even under glass at the Warrens Occult Museum in Connecticut, and still haunts to this very day. Multiple visitors who've broken the warning of don't touch the glass and taunted the doll have had horrific traffic accidents happen to them as they drive home. But don't worry, that draft you feel going up your spine isn't from the doll. It's from the cold hard rejection the local news guy gets when he asks his co-anchor to go see the doll with him.
Maybe next time you can go to the museum with me and we can,
No.
No?
Absolutely not.
You sure?
There isn't enough money in the world.
No, of course not. Of course not. No.
That is one cold shoulder. Now, it's pretty clear that the one
Friend-zoned!
thing all these movies have in common is that the way that their stories resolve themselves isn't quite reality. The Perrons apparently continue to live in their farmhouse with spirits in the basement for over a decade. Janet's possession by Bill Wilkins was investigated countless times, with the ultimate conclusion being that the whole Enfield poltergeist was a combination of some simple furniture pranks and girls talented in ventriloquism. Real life doesn't wrap up into neat little packages the way the movies do, but the facts of the cases, the people involved, and the events described, even if they were hoaxes, are all mostly what happened. So at this point, here's my question. Is that enough to call these true stories? I mean, we have explicit laws in place that outright prevent false advertising. Is there a threshold for how much truth has to be in a work of fiction before you can call it true, or at the very least based on a true story? Well, let's consider a couple of cases. Another horror movie, The Strangers, also claimed to be inspired by true events. The story is about 3 masked home intruders who show up at a house and proceed to torture the family there for no reason. And what was the truth behind that one? That the screenwriter once got a knock on his door from some strangers who were committing robberies in the neighborhood. That's it. And then there's...
Okay, so what you mean by based on the true events is sort of like 100% of the video, 100% of the movie, 1% is based on the true event. 99% is
the opening text from The Blair Witch Project and Fargo, 2 movies that flat out state that the events that you're about to see are either real or recreations of what really happened. So what were the true stories behind both of those 2 films? Nothing. Nada. Zip. Bupkiss. Both of those stories were entirely made up. The movies said they were real, and they totally got away with it. Although it should be mentioned that tons of people were fooled into thinking that the Blair Witch Project was completely true. The 90s, when people assumed that what they saw on the internet was real. Oh wait, they still do that today. So, how did they get away with this? Well, false advertising statutes in the US are regulated by the Federal Trade Commission, but most of those rules are predicated on ensuring that products don't make misleading health claims, or misrepresent what the consumer is going to tangibly favorably received. Movies don't apply to either of those. And even if they did, the Federal Trade Commission doesn't do that great of a job of enforcing these statutes. Like, say, when Apple was advertising their iPhone 3G as twice as fast, half the price, but neither of those things were true. When people sued for the ads being misleading, Apple's response was shock that consumers would actually believe their claims. Quote, plaintiff's claims are barred by the fact that the alleged deceptive statements were such that no reasonable person in plaintiff's position could have reasonably relied on or misunderstood Apple's statements as claims of fact. Yep, there was no way I could have misconstrued those giant words in all caps as being factual statements about your new product.
Giant words in caps, bold caps, I think.
In an episode about poltergeist,
JK, just kidding.
Some hauntings, I swear the scariest thing in it is corporate greed. So anyway, movies can say they're true, completely lie, and be ignored by the law. But here's the twist. Movies that are only partially true are actually much more vulnerable to lawsuits. This is mostly because fictional characters and their fictional families can't sue you, but the real people you portray in your film just might. For example, in the Denzel Washington biopic The Hurricane, in which a championship boxing contender is wrongfully convicted of murder, Washington's character Hurricane Carter fights another boxer named Joey Giardello. In the movie, Hurricane Carter beats up Giardello but loses the fight because the judges were prejudiced against him because he was black. This didn't sit very well with the real Joey Giardello, who was still alive and litigious when the movie came out in 1999. He sued the makers of the movie for portraying him as incompetent and damaging his legacy, with a judge from the fight calling the film's depiction of Giardello as ludicrous. He reached a settlement with the producers out of court, and lo and behold, the DVD commentary includes the director outright saying that Giardello was no doubt a great fighter. Even the Conjuring franchise has gotten into some hot legal water, not because of how true the movies were or weren't, but because the author of The Demonologist, Gerald Brittle, owned the rights to the Warren stories. He sued Warner Brothers for nearly $1 billion, citing copyright infringement. So how did WB get out of the lawsuit? By claiming fair use of the plots, given that they were based on historical fact. In other words, Warner Brothers' legal case rested on the stories of ghosts, possessions, and haunted dolls to be so true that they could not legally be copyrighted. And best of all, they won. Which tells us two pretty shocking things. First, that legally you're in a better position to make up total BS and then call it the truth in your marketing than you are to just base your story on true events and run the risk of someone suing you. And two, in the eyes of the criminal justice system, ghosts, witches, and demonic possessions are all in the realm of historical fact. But hey, that's just a theory. A spooky theory. And make sure you subscribe for more scary theories about ghosts, goblins, disturbing YouTube videos, and worst of all, the depravity businesses will go to for money. Subscribing. Remember when Did You Know Movies was a show on the channel? Well, Shane, who's the producer of that series, is off on his own channel now, Normal Boots, along with a lot of my other friends in the creator space. So if you love that series, or if you just want to revisit some of the classic episodes, or if you're looking for a quality retro gaming channel, it's still going on over there. So make sure you head on over and subscribe. Tell them Bill Wilkins sent ya. And happy early Halloween. I'll try to fit in one more scary theory for the month's out.
Alright, thank you all so much for being so supportive and encouraging, and I hope to see you all in my next video. I hope that this video has been very special and unique to watch together with me. If you do like this video, please remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you have any action of us. Don't forget to follow my channel, and I sincerely appreciate all of your support and encouragement for my work. Thank you so much once again. Yeah, that's just a theory, a film theory. Thanks for watching. Thank you. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Subscribe. Reactions will be starting in July. I'm not too sure. Generally speaking, KV profits in July, maybe the last day of July or something like that. Because I really want to finish up with the game theorists, film theory, food theorists, and keep up with it. KV profits. Probably not the 1st of July. Probably, according to my calculations, probably not on the 1st of July. No, just no solid promises. No solid promises. Maybe. Like, according to my calculations, I will probably catch up to the game theorists, field theorists by the month of July. So, no promises. But even if it happens, right? Even if that happens, I will probably, if I was to do a video, I'll probably be like 31st of July, probably, or 30th of July. Yeah. It's Sunday. So what you do entirely after you have watched, like you did with the Theorists? Maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah. Anyways, let's focus. Hello everyone, it's me. And today, are you ready to be a victor? Alright, awesome. Hello everyone, it's me, and today, are you ready to be a victor? Winner, let's go! Scary. Horror.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory!
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory! Hello!
The show that was cursed by a cult to kill everyone's childhood, one theory at a time. Today, though, we get to strike at one of fictional history's most prolific killers. No, not him again. He could even kill a bunch of hobbits.
Oh my god! Thanos! Lord of the Rings! Star Wars!
What?
Star Wars.
Yeah, I guess he did kill a bunch of people. Alright, so prolific might not be the right word. Today we're gonna take a stab at one of cinema's most famous killers, Michael Myers.
Yeah, baby! Yeah.
Michael Myers, not Mike Myers. Michael's insane and inconsistent past has been covered in 10 Halloween movies. Technically, there are 11 movies in the Halloween franchise, but Halloween 3 had nothing to do with serial killers wearing William Shatner masks, so not really important for consideration today. And
so, the question should be, with multi-millions of dollars involved, what are the film producers doing? Filmmakers doing?
Yet, despite it being the second longest running horror franchise of all time at 40 years, no one in that huge stretch of time has figured out how to finish off The Shape once and for all.
And remember that it's multi-millions of dollars involved.
He is literally seen to be unstoppable, being brought back in film after film despite whatever damage he took previously. So I got to wondering, if I were a babysitter on Halloween night in Haddonfield, Illinois, the primary setting of the Halloween films, what could I do to not only survive, but be the one to finally stop Michael Myers' reign of terror once and for all? Now, if you've never seen Halloween or its army of sequels, then you're probably unfamiliar with its convoluted story. And if you have seen the movies, well then you're still probably unfamiliar with its convoluted story since the whole thing gets retconned every time there's a new installment. Basically, Halloween is a Bildungsroman, a coming-of-age story of a young man named Michael Myers, who in 1963 opens the series by killing his older sister Judith. He spends the next 15 years in a mental asylum under the care of the single worst mental health professional of all time.
Yes, you must understand that back in the days, these professionals are literally just horrible individuals.
Dr. Loomis.
Behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
Good medical advice there, Doc. On Halloween night in 1978, Michael escapes and goes on a classic road trip adventure. Despite, it's worth pointing out, never learning to drive since, again, he was locked in an insane asylum since the age of 6. Anyway, he does all your normal road trip stuff, stealing your murdered sister's gravestone, robbing hardware stores for Halloween masks, and teaching young teens the benefits of abstinence. And this kind of remains his MO for the rest of time, occasionally showing up always on Halloween night to slowly walk from point A to point B in order to murder some sexually promiscuous teenagers, long-lost members of his family, and the occasional hermit.
That keeps us stargazing and
Hermit, not Kermit. He's not murdering Muppets. Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, provides a deep and often detested backstory for this murderous killer, where as a child he was cursed by the Cult of Thorn to murder his entire family as this ritual sacrifice to some ancient gods, a backstory that is immediately erased just one movie later in Halloween Water. Wait, what? Halloween H2O? Yeah, that's what I said. Halloween what? H20? Oh, Halloween 20 years later.
Oh, H2O, water. Fun fact, do you know what's water? Water is dihydrogen monoxide. Yes, correct. Yeah, correct. That's chemical name for it, for water.
H20. That's stupid. That's a stupid name. And now the new 2018 installment takes it one step further by erasing literally everything but the very first Halloween movie, thereby making the only currently canon films in the franchise to be Halloween and its new sequel, Halloween. So stupid! It's so stupid! So we know his story, or at least as much as we can know about his story, but if we're gonna beat him, we need to know his power set. And let me tell you what a power set it is. He is slow, and he tends to use a knife. When he's presented with something like a gun, he also uses it as just a knife. Top tier killer, ladies and gentlemen. Some people seem to believe that he can teleport, but technically that's not true because when he's arrested at the end of Halloween 5, he needs someone else to intervene and break him out of jail. Other people think that he's a cyborg because he bleeds yellow in Halloween 6, but again, that's also not true because that yellow substance is just a chemical that he'd been injected with a few scenes earlier. So what makes this guy a murderer so threatening that I'm dedicating an episode to him? Well, to put it simply, he's unstoppable. Slap his face on a motivational poster because he is the embodiment of persistence. We've seen him shot and it doesn't work. Again and again and again. Jeez, guys, stop trying to shoot him. It clearly doesn't work.
So why not try something different, some other ways of doing this?
He survives multiple stabbings, long falls, he survives burning with minimal damage, beatings from lead pipes, and even Busta Rhymes can't get the job done when he tries to crotch shock Michael to death.
Why not send it to the sun? Ta-da!
There's a high voltage wire right to the groin. Ugh, yikes. So we know that shooting, stabbing, exploding, electrifying, and beating Michael won't kill him, but he is human. We see that he eats dogs in the first Halloween, and we're able to hear him breathing throughout the series. So when it comes down to it, Michael has two things going for him. Super strength, I mean just look at that one-armed pull-up, and a healing factor that is so strong that he's able to get his eyes shot out at the end of Halloween 2, but then have him back to full functioning during the next film.
So it's something like Wolverine, but not X-Men. Why?
So, how would you defeat Michael Myers? My first thought was acid. Just like Cell in Dragon Ball Z, you need to destroy every last particle of a regenerating creature so nothing can grow back. And with acid, it would just keep burning away no matter how much Michael regenerated. However, upon closer inspection in the series, this isn't the case. At the end of The Curse of Michael Myers, we see Paul Rudd, Tommy Doyle, inject Michael with a mysterious yellow goo. But upon closer inspection, the movie makes it very clear in these few frames that the goo is indeed meant to be corrosive, so acid doesn't seem to be the way to go. Then I thought, well, maybe the most boring way possible, old age. I know it's lame, but curse or no, he is clearly shown growing older and aging, starting the series at age 6 in 1963, and then 15 years later proving himself to be a big strapping adult of age 21. 23? Did no one do the math here? But again, this is a no-go. The term death by old age is actually just a blanket statement for the death brought about by the failure of an organ via old dying cells. But Michael has these super healing cells, so the organs technically would never get old enough to fail.
So if you think about it, right, people don't necessarily die of old age. People die of failing organs. If your organs keep working and working and working and working and working, you don't technically die of old age. Yeah.
And it seems like the movies know this, considering Judith says right before Michael's carted off to prison,
The National Guard will take him to a maximum security facility, where he'll stay till the day he dies.
Never die.
so we need to attack the healing factor itself. A healing factor that, unlike what we see in Logan, shows no real signs of failure. But we also need to remember that, cult or no, Michael is at his core human. He was a kid, he grows up, he's referred to as a human in the movies, he gets knocked unconscious like every other scene, we see him bleed, so we can assume that at some level his body functions via basic human biology, and basic human biology is all that we're gonna need to kill him. You see, all humans have the biologic potential to heal, regrow, and even in some cases regenerate parts of their body. For instance, if your liver gets injured or you lose part of it or you donate part of it, the rest of it will grow back on its own, back to exactly the right size for your body. So what grants us our own, albeit much slower, regenerative ability? Stem cells,
pow! Bang!
And progenitor cells. You've probably heard of stem cells, the magic cells that start off as a blank slate but can evolve into any type of cell in your body. They're most commonly seen in the growth of babies before they're born, but all of us walking around have our own adult stem cells sitting in our body waiting for their potential to be unlocked. Now, stem cells have their cousins, progenitor cells, which are slightly more specific than stem cells, but can still grow up to become several different kinds of cell depending on what kind of progenitor they are. For instance, your endothelial progenitor cells are the ones found under your skin or near your blood vessels. When you get a cut or scrape, those cells are the ones that are thought to mobilize in order to heal that wound.
The more you know. Thank you so much for making this episode very educational and knowledgeable. Thank you so much.
And if that kind of special wound healing ability starts to give you some ideas, well, it should, because that's where we come all the way back to our old pal Michael Myers and how we're gonna finally bump him off for good this Halloween. To do the kind of wound healing we've seen Michael pull off in the movies, his stem and progenitor cells have to be running out of control. Like, sure, we can all heal from some bumps and bruises, but Michael is literally bouncing back from having his eyes shot out. His stem cells are working mega overtime. That makes our job in killing him really tough, because as long as he has those stem and progenitor cells, he can come back from literally any wound that we inflict on him. Theoretically, even something as extreme as chopping him in half wouldn't help, because with the work of his stem cells, he could just regrow the missing half of his body and keep on trucking. No, there's only one way to completely wipe out his healing ability, and that's by getting rid of every single one of those regenerating stem cells. So how the heck do we do it? One word:
liquid nitrogen.
Irradiation. Specifically, total
Different.
body irradiation, or TBI. TBI is a real medical procedure, and it's been used for over 40 years to help cure very difficult diseases like leukemia. 40 years, the exact amount of time that Michael Myers has been stalking babysitters in Haddonfield. Coincidence? Yes, absolutely. In leukemia...
It's like, coincidence? Absolutely, yeah, of course, coincidence.
patient produces the wrong kinds of blood cells. Those bad blood cells are created by stem cells deep inside the person's bone marrow, which, in case you didn't know, is actually where all your new blood comes from. To treat leukemia, one option is to get rid of all the stem cells in the patient's bone marrow so that there are no cells left to produce the bad blood. Doctors do this by exposing the patient to radiation, high enough radiation to literally kill off all the stem cells existing in the bone.
So it's something like radiation therapy or targeted radiation therapy.
If it sounds scary, it is. And if you know someone who's going through this, give them tons of support because it is basically the bravest thing you can do. And yes, that includes facing down a goofy, masked serial killer. Now, once they're without their stem cells, they can't produce any new blood at all, which is why patients receive a bone marrow transplant. In a bone marrow transplant, once the bad bone marrow has been irradiated out, new marrow from a donor is implanted so the patient has a whole new crop of stem cells, thereby ending the leukemia. Now, in our case, we're not trying to cure Michael Myers, we're trying to get him done. But the principle is the same. If we wipe out Michael's stem cells, we wipe out his healing ability, thereby making it possible to kill him without him coming back. But to do that, we're gonna need a lot of radiation. A really lethal dose, which would be much higher than what's used in treatment for even the toughest of cancer.
I can think of one word: sun.
Basically, we gotta zap him with everything we've got. Now, lethal radiation doses are calculated based on the radiation level to which exposure would kill 50% of people within a week. A lethal dose, then, is technically defined as 1 gray, where gray is the unit for measuring radiation. To put that in perspective, between flying on airplanes, getting the occasional X-ray, and exposing our skin to the UV rays of the sun, a typical person is exposed to 0.0024 gray of radiation per year. Super high doses for bone marrow transplant patients range from 6 to 8 gray at the absolute most. But what we need for Michael is to be so affected by radiation poisoning that he starts experiencing symptoms immediately.
And if he's in the MCU, become the Hulk. The Incredible Hulk!
To get that kind of effect, we need a total body irradiation dose of 30 gray. So we need to crank the dial all the way up and hit him with the total maximum dose. And it is possible, but to do it, we have to be really, really smart. In order to expose Michael to radiation, we're first gonna need to lure him into a hospital. Easy, you simply kite him. Forgive me for using a gaming term, but kiting is the process of getting an enemy's attention and then running away as they chase you, usually while attacking the enemy.
Yeah, I really like it that he mentions gaming terms in a film theory.
Michael Myers is one of the slowest moving killers in cinematic history, so as long as your car's doing like 1 mile per hour, you're gonna be fine. Maybe think about packing some books on tape next to all that ammo. Once we've kited him into the hospital, it's time to lure him into the radiation room. Hospitals in the US are required to build in special radiation shielding in the floors and walls of any rooms that contain a major radiation producing machine, so as long as he's in and you're out, which let's face it, you should be avoiding sharing a room with that guy in general, you'll avoid irradiating yourself while Michael's busy cooking in his own personal microwave. Which obviously leads to the question, how do you get a hospital to let you, a babysitter, into their radiation room? Well, the answer is simple. Michael Myers' story is known in this universe. There's even a scene where people are watching the first Halloween movie.
The immortal classic, followed by the big giveaway at 9.
It's not just a horror movie over there, it's like a Lifetime original feature, based on a true story of heroism. And in the new Halloween movie, people are actively trying to do a podcast with Michael Myers. His story is out there. Anyway, Laurie Strode at this point has had 40 years to prep for his eventual attack. Plenty of time to get some doctors, or law enforcement, or both on her side. They even know what day he's gonna attack. Spoiler alert, it's always Halloween.
Spoiler alert, is always that particular
So if we manage to keep him in the room at max dose, he should start to show signs of acute radiation poisoning in minutes, including nausea, dizziness, and shock. And this is exactly where we want him because now it's time to go in and finish the job. That's right, after all this trouble, it's actually not going to be the radiation that kills him. Remember, the whole point of irradiating Michael was to deplete his stem cells, preventing him from healing himself. From there, we use any method available. Shoot out his eyes again, inject him with acid again, chop him with an axe, or for goodness sake, just decapit decapitate the right guy this time, because now he's reeling with radiation poisoning and has no way to heal himself. We can finally rid the world of the terror that is Michael Myers, finishing off the Halloween movies once and for all, or at least until they reboot them in another 10 years. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut. Hey, if you want more horror theories for this Halloween, click the box to the left to see the true ghost stories behind the Conjuring movies. Or click the box to the right to find out why the Blair Witch was the least of the filmmakers' problems when it came to the Blair Witch Project. And finally, make sure you subscribe for more creepy theories that happen not just on Halloween, but all year round. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go answer the door. There's some trick-or-treaters outside.
Well, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that this video has been very interesting and unique to watch. Quite special, isn't it? Thank you so much for watching this video together with me, and I hope to see you all in my next video. Once again, if you do like this video, please remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you have any share of us. Don't forget to follow my channel, and I sincerely appreciate all of your support and encouragement for my work. Thank you all so much. Once again, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut. Thank you. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Subscribe to me and my channel. Thank you. Yeah. I think it's because I have not been getting proper sleeps. I'm just super tired right now. Gosh.
Here on Film Theory, you know we've covered some pretty bizarre series on the internet. From here on Film Theory, you know we've covered some pretty bizarre.
Let's go. How does that? How reminds me? Alright, when I asked my last question, it felt like you were sad. I'm sorry if I did. No. Fear Profits. It's just that I feel bad if I was to make promises that I may not be able to fulfill. Yeah, so it's always a good thing to say maybe, maybe not. And plus, you pay thanks to the Theorists community. Why not Silver Gunner community? Well, one of the very facts, because the Theorists community is because I grew up watching their videos for decades, literally decades. And just want to pay forward, pay homage to them, because they educate me. They are responsible for making me who I am. They're responsible for making me want to learn, want to be educated, have a nerdy and geeky self, and I'm really appreciative for them. Yes. So yeah, anyways, focus. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this. Oh gosh. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm doing this. Hello everyone, it's me. And today, please... Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this. Hello everyone, it's me. Please remember, be understanding, be respectful, because today we'll be talking about and yes. One more time. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm talking about them. Hi everyone, it's me, and today please remember to be respectful, be understanding, because today we'll be talking about and yeah.
Around here on Film Theory, you know we've covered some pretty bizarre series on the internet, from episodes on Poppy, to Salad Fingers, to Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. But today, I think I can safely say that I'm going to the darkest part of the internet yet.
Aliens! Yes! I want to do the interview here.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory!
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory. Hello! Please remember that this video came out in the year 2018, so it's more than 3 years ago.
The show that's been YouTubing it up since the days of Vine. Here on the channel, I have a history of covering not just movies and
oh my god, my pet looks so young in that video.
TV, but also big online series that pop up all across the interwebs. And recently, there has been nothing bigger than the Shane Dawson expose into the life of Jake Paul.
Alright, I have to make sure that you understand the recently is 2018, not right now recently, alright?
In case you weren't one of the 142 million views that this series got in its first couple weeks, let me catch you up. Recently, YouTuber / conspiracy theorist Shane Dawson put out an 8-part documentary series on social media star, former Viner, and all-around bad boy Jake Paul. Yes, that's correct. Right now, you're watching a YouTuber covering a YouTuber covering another YouTuber. We have
oh my gosh, I really like the music. The boom, wong music of The Matrix and Inception. Yeah.
Reached peak meta. Now, Shane's docu-series focused on a bunch of different aspects of Jake Paul's life. His relationship with his family, his ex-girlfriend Alyssa Violet, his squad mates in Team 10, even going so far as to analyze Jake with the help of a licensed therapist to try and determine whether Jake is actually a sociopath. A question that we've been asking since 2013. Humble brag! But across all 413 minutes of content, nearly 7 hours of video dedicated to this guy, there's one story that Shane Dawson really missed, either because he wasn't interested in it, or frankly because he wasn't allowed to talk about it. And that's Jake Paul's real job. Because here's the thing, in the docu-series, Shane portrays Jake as a vlogger, a young guy out there having fun and making cash with his buddies, but that's a huge lie. Jake isn't a vlogger, nor has he ever intended to be. In an interview last year, Jake Paul himself said,
I want to be the first social media billionaire.
And that wasn't
Social media billionaire.
just some offhand remark in the style of Bruno Mars wishing he was a billionaire. That was
I want to be a billionaire so bad, buying all the things I never had.
in the
Like for me, I want to buy a computer.
context of an interview
hard, really.
discussing his business. The pursuit
And not the best computer, it's just an average performing computer.
of money is pretty darn central to Jake Paul's online identity, and as such, it seems like a glaring oversight in Shane's documentary, especially given how he just got a behind-the-scenes look at Jeffree Star's mega business. No, it's my theory that Shane wasn't allowed to talk about it because the business side of Jake Paul doesn't vibe all that well with his goofy on-camera persona, and was thus the untold part of this supposedly tell-all documentary. Either way, I am more than happy to pick up where Shane left off, and I've left a couple of links down below to other YouTubers who've started to talk about similar parts of this story, like Nerd City and Lindsay Ellis. But this is all my own take on what Jake Paul is really doing, what he's really selling, because it is a heck of a lot more than t-shirts. So today, we're not going inside the mind of Jake Paul, this is us going inside the business of Jake Paul.
Okay, so please be understanding and thank you so much for being so wholesome and positive about it. Thank you. Let's get on with the video.
To reveal how his billion-dollar ambitions might be the first glimpse into the future of a dystopian YouTube. A YouTube built on manufacturing and monetizing the most valuable commodity of them all, trust. In Shane's series, the first real glimpse we got behind the scenes with Jake Paul was in talking about how his pranks are staged.
Those pranks on them are like fake. My vlogs are like lightly scripted, and so all those pranks, I like tell them I'm gonna do it. They're like, okay, and then I do it.
And quite frankly, that's amateur stuff. Of course, it's all fake. Anyone who remembers the early days of Vitaly and Roman know that it was all faked. What he didn't talk about being faked was his completely carefree attitude. Building a business empire isn't about Jake clowning around in front of the camera. It requires him to act in a very deliberate and intentional way. And Jake is certainly not a man without a larger plan in place. In a video posted on January 2nd, 2017, now unlisted, Jake Paul lays out his plans for potential investors in his new business, Humdrum. He says,
"We are like a business incubation company. You know, you've heard of Y Combinator and things like that. But we do that for talent."
No, Jake, I'm sure that a very small minority of your viewers have actually heard of Y Combinator, so let me explain it to them. Y Combinator is one of the biggest startup incubators in Silicon Valley. They provided early funding and mentorship to companies like Dropbox, Reddit, and Twitch, just to name a few. And of course, that early investment means that they own part of those companies. Investing in a company when it's valued at a few $1 million starts to look like a really good idea when that company goes on to be valued at billions of dollars, as it was the case with Dropbox and Reddit. Twitch, on the other hand, was not part of that billion-dollar club since it sold to Amazon for a valuation of a mere $970 million. Oh, so close and yet so far. The important takeaway here, though, is Y Combinator isn't a technology company. It invests in technology companies for partial ownership. Jake seems to be aiming to copy the idea. In his pitch video, he isn't trying to sell himself as an influencer or Vine star. He's trying to sell himself as a business incubator that can train up other influencers and become an early investor in what they're doing, in exchange owning a big chunk of their career.
If you leak anything on the internet to anybody, you will be sued for everything you have. And I know I've taken 20% of that already, but you will be sued for the rest of it.
If his goal is to become a billionaire, Jake has the right idea. Bruno Mars might not be a billionaire, no matter how freaking bad he wants it, but you know who is? Len Blavatnik, the owner of holding company Access Industries, who owns Warner Music Group, which in turn owns Atlantic Records, which is Bruno Mars's record label.
So understandably, billion of dollars involved.
Yep, I'm talking about the owner of the owner of the owner of the owner of a musician, if you're counting those different layers. The point is, billion-dollar talents are rare. Most of the world's billionaires are businessmen, the kind of people who manage or invest in talent or other industries. Only one musician in all of history has ever passed $1 billion, and you'll never guess who it is. It's Andrew Lloyd Webber. He wasn't even a stage performer. He's a composer who created musicals, and even those musicals he mostly ripped off from other people. And before you run off to Google to fact check that, yeah, it's really true. Even Beyonce and T-Swift aren't billionaires. You know who's closer to being a billionaire than Beyonce? Her husband, Jay-Z, who makes most of his money by, you guessed it, owning his own record label and doing massive business deals. Not by being a cool rapper. When it comes to Jake Paul's billion-dollar idea, managing his own YouTube channel and his own career as an influencer is small potatoes compared to the eventual goal, which he laid out in an interview last year. As he says, I know it's a cliche, but like literally I want to create an empire of dozens of talent under me, to take my power and multiply it so I become bigger than myself. He doesn't want to just become a star who gets attention, he wants to be the owner of a company that manages other stars, which again, seems like a pretty good game plan if the goal is to create a billion-dollar business empire. Shane Dawson not talking about this is like doing a documentary on Elon Musk just talking about his personal life without ever mentioning the words Tesla or SpaceX. Now, building a billion-dollar business ain't easy, but lucky for Jake, he's got himself some help. In 2017, he raised himself a
small loan of $1 million
to start up Teamdom. Who were the investors? Lead investor in the $1 million round was Danhua, a Chinese investment firm, along with Gary Vaynerchuk, who appears in the Teamdom pitch video alongside Jake Paul, as well as Abe Burns of Sound Ventures and Grady Investments, two investment firms co-founded by Ashton Kutcher. So why does any of this matter? Well, it tells us something about the future of the company. Investors aren't gift givers, they're not super generous, they're really savvy people who are looking to make money for themselves. Investors can make money in a lot of ways, but they're always going to be looking for the biggest payouts, which usually means they're looking to sell the company for a lot of money, the way Instagram sold itself to Facebook. So why do these investors matter to us, and more importantly to Jake's job?
Interesting. It's all about money involved in this video. Of course it's about the business now, but wow, really makes me think a lot. It's like, not sure if you have you read this book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Rich Dad, or is it reverse? Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Yeah, it's worth a read. It's like legit one of the few books that is worth a read.
Well, it means that even though he doesn't show it, a lot of Jake's time has to be spent behind the scenes working to make those investors the money that they expect. He's not gonna impress them by flexing with his Lambos all day, especially when it's those big investor dollars that bought that Lambo in the first place.
So, a lot of works behind the scenes instead of in front of the scenes. It's difficult unless you have unless you have something like this, so that you can multiply yourself, and then you do the things, I do my things, we do together, and then I do in front of stage, you do behind the stage, that kind of things.
These are the people that you're not going to want to disappoint because they didn't give Jake $1 million just so he could clown around in his big house all day with his friends. They gave him that money because they think it'll enable him to build a company that some other bigger company will buy out for a lot more money. Jake can't be just doing this thing forever because all those people want to, and more importantly need to, get themselves paid, baby. There's another reason Jake Paul's investors are a big part of this whole picture. Investors have an influence on the company they give money to. In the world of retail investing, where you go onto the publicly traded stock market to buy a share of Apple for $200 simply so you can own 0.0000002% of the company, you as a shareholder don't really have all that much say in what goes on in Apple.
You have the influence, but you have a very, 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 very small influence. But still it's an influence.
You just show up to the shareholders meeting, but it's not like they're going to be consulting you on any big decisions. The world of private investment, though, is a different beast. Unlike publicly traded companies, private investors have to strike individual deals with the companies that they're investing in. In a lot of ways, this is a good thing. When an investment firm gives you money in exchange for part of your company, the only way for the investment to pay off is for your company to succeed.
So, case in point, a lot of paperwork.
Which means that a lot of the things they do are going to be related to helping those companies thrive. For instance, giving those companies access to their network of business contacts. Investment firms are also usually run by people who had their own successes in business, which means that they can serve as effective mentors for younger, less experienced people who might be starting their first business.
And a lot of times, these individuals tend to work behind the scenes instead of in front of camera. A lot of times,
The cons of selling part of your company to investors is that now you're literally giving another group ownership over part of your company, which means that you can't make decisions entirely by yourself anymore. And investors can be much more likely to want to have that kind of oversight when the CEO is young, inexperienced, and on the local news for starting a bunch of couch fires in his backyard. But hey, you don't have to take my word for it. Jake Paul said it himself in a video appropriately titled Raising Money from Investors.
One thing that's bad about raising money from investors is obviously you're giving away a piece of your company, so you won't have full ownership, which, could mean that you don't have full control of your company.
In short, it might seem like Jake Paul's the one who's steering his ship, but in truth, he might not actually be the one with his hands on the wheel. As someone who took someone else's money, he is beholden to make decisions that make his investors happy. And if your investors are no longer happy, well, they're gonna step in and force you to make some decisions that make them happy. Like
Star Wars Force.
Say for instance, you and your brother's bad behavior starts costing your business money.
2 days after that, I was supposed to be doing like a brand deal for like 7 figures. And like that got taken away.
Your investors could, force you to agree to do a docu-series that rehabilitates your image and then differentiates you from your brother to make you appealing to brands again.
So, not sure if you know, right? 7 figures is normally about millions of dollars of... If it was cancelled last minute, ouch, it hurts. It really hurts a lot. It really hurts a lot. Millions of dollars just...
If all this is making it sound like Jake Paul is some sort of
just Thanos snap away, it hurts, it really hurts.
Innovative business mastermind who's come up with this brilliant original idea, well, the idea of creating a talent incubator isn't exactly new. The idea of savvy business runners taking in budding talents and training them up to become more effective entertainment products is about as Hollywood gets. Though, for a more recent example, you can look at the modern music industry. Early on, record labels would scout talent, and agents would travel around looking for talented local musicians. Now, you don't need to find talent, you can simply manufacture it. For example, look no further than the Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, and the Spice Girls. Or even more recently, you can see it in the all-controlling world of K-pop and J-pop groups. The new innovation here was that music executives realized that you could take something that usually happens organically, a bunch of people getting together to form themselves a group that performs original music, and
organically
manufacture it by selecting beautiful people and then writing songs for them to perform on stage. It's hard to find a handsome face and a good songwriter in the same package, so why not create everything assembly line style? And so it was that video killed the radio star, and our musical performances all came to be performed by beautiful people who have audio engineers teach them how to sing on pitch. It didn't take long for people to figure out the same thing could be done with content like YouTube videos.
Sing on pitch to the point that they like it, to the point in which they like it, the audience like it, the viewers like it, the experimental polls suggest like it, and yeah, if they like it, I'm pretty sure the white majority will like it as well. So went through a lot of safety nets involved.
Why wait for some naturally compelling vlogger to come along? If you understand what makes a compelling vlog, rather than waiting for it to come into existence.
I'm sorry, what is that?
YouTube videos. Why wait for some naturally compelling vlogger to come along? If you understand what makes a
uniqueness, charisma, talent, nerve.
Compelling vlog, rather than waiting for it to come into existence organically, you could just hire an actor to act like they're a vlogger. You don't think you can fake that kind of thing? Think again. In June 2006, yeah, all the way back at the beginnings of YouTube, a channel called Lonely Girl 15 popped up, showing videos starring Bree, who appeared to be a relatively ordinary teenage girl vlogging about her life.
My name is Bree. I'm a dork.
Until it was revealed that Bree wasn't actually Bree. She was an actress, Jessica Rose, who was portraying a fictional character created by a group of filmmakers. 1 year. It took 1 year after the launch of YouTube for someone to figure it out, but it took another 13 years for this model to become mainstream on the platform, which brings us back to, you guessed it, Jake Paul. The only difference now, though, is that Jake Paul isn't applying this model to manufacturing musical acts or doing a cinematic project exploring digital video. He's trying to manufacture something very different and very dangerous. He's trying to manufacture your friends. In the last part of Shane Dawson's docuseries, Jake describes himself as,
I was just having fun and like doing whatever I wanted.
But investors didn't write him $1 million check just to be a kid having fun. They wrote him a check to become a talent spotter, cranking out new influencers that everyone else can turn a profit on. Except there's a difference between influencers and celebrities. Viewers view YouTubers, influencers, not like celebrities. They view them as friends.
Jake Paul is my friend. Yay, Paul is my friend.
There's a fantastic video on this topic made by Lindsay Ellis where she explains it like a real educational channel.
So it's more like difference between a star and a celebrity and a friend. It's different.
The challenge for creators is to maintain the illusion for their followers of feeling like they do know this creator, when in reality, they only know the affect, the side of the creator that the creator has decided it is most beneficial for you, the audience, to see.
But when your personality, your persona, and your content are all being influenced by major media investors, well then it starts to get really hard to know where a creator's personality stops and where the corporate machine begins. When it comes to Jake Paul, it's critical for him to convince you, me, all of us that he's just a dude having fun and that he's not some wannabe business mogul who's manipulating his audience, because then you would start to feel like you're being sold to by a company, which is what he really is here. It's easier if a docuseries that explores his life is more focused on the drama, his ex-girlfriends, his ex-partners, his bad behavior, and not so much the business that's operating in the background. Because the viewers might not understand it all, but they would probably get angry if they realized how much time they'd spent watching what they thought was a real-life vlog, but was actually just the cogs of a corporate machine working its way slowly to that $1 billion mark. And then they would get really mad when they also remembered how much they spent on all that merch. But I'll save that for part 2 in a couple of days, because if Shane's taught me anything, it's that I should save the even better stuff for next time.
Wait, dude, you're telling me there's a part 2? Wait, what the...
But in the meantime, remember first to subscribe because you don't want to miss part 2 of this expose on the business of Jake Paul and Shane Dawson's documentary. This is a multi-part series. Don't worry, I'm not going to extend it out to 8 parts like Shane did, but it's going to be at least 3. So hit that subscribe button and write down in the comments below the words, I don't know, Chicken Chick. I just think it's going to be funny. There's a restaurant nearby that's called Chicken Chick, and it's just a weird name for a restaurant. So do that. I challenge you to be able to do it in the next 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3. I don't think you're going to be able to do both of those things in 1 second. Done. Congratulations, you're going to be notified of the next upload. But also remember, even more importantly, that it's all just a theory. A film theory. And cut.
Well, subscribe and remember to click on the ring notification bell as well. Thank you so much for being so supportive and encouraging. Don't forget to follow my channel, subscribe to my channel, and subscribe to the Film Theory channel as well. They're just amazing individuals. Once again, I'm sincerely thankful, like touch my heart, from the bottom of my heart. Sincerely grateful and appreciative for your attention and support for my channel. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you all in my next video. Hopefully you find this video very interesting to watch, and if you do like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and comment down below if you have anything to share with us. Thank you so much, but hey, that's just a theory, a film theory, and cut. Thank you so much. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye! Thank you so much. Subscribe. Thank you. Alright, well, I hope that you do the same format for Silver Gunner. I might need to go. I'm very tired. Oh no! I'm sorry. Please rest. It's gonna be like 1 AM at your place already, right? I'm sorry. Please remember to rest up soon. Thank you so much, KB Profits, for coming over to my live stream. I know I started this live stream a bit late today. At 11+ AM. I should have started my live stream earlier at around 8+ AM in the first place. I'm very sorry. Tomorrow I'll try my best to start earlier soon. Alright, thank you so much.
Fact, the idea that actually started this Jake Paul film theory. Fact, the idea that
Kevin Profits, thank you so much. I hope to see you all. I hope to see you in my tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday, so yeah. Thank you. Let's start. Hi everyone, it's me. Well, this is part 2, so let's get to it. Why is there a part 2? Anyways, well, that's part 2. Can't believe I'm doing it again. Hello everyone, it's me. I'm very sorry. Please forgive me. I'm very sorry. I did plus apologies. Oh my goodness. Well, there's a part 2, so let's get to it. Hello everyone, it's me. I'm very sorry, my deepest apologies, but please remember to be welcoming and caring. Thank you so much, because the topic that we're doing today is, and yeah. Once again. Should I actually do it? Let's do it. I can't believe I'm doing it again. Hello everyone, it's me. Come on. I can't believe I'm doing it again. Hello everyone, it's me. I'm very sorry, my deepest apologies. please be welcoming and caring to everyone, because the topic that we are talking today is about. And yeah, so I'm sorry.
Fun fact, the idea that actually started this Jake Paul film theory-a-thon didn't have anything to do with Jake at all. It had to do with those insane FaZe Clan and Clout Clan houses they showed Nick and Alyssa living in Shane's series. Did you see those monsters that both mysteriously had the same Hollywood sign piled into the pool?
This is deja vu. Yeah,
it's like the same house. We used to live in the house 2 down, but we still have that. That's like the FaZe house. And then this is like the Cloud House.
Right. It struck me as an unusual coincidence, and Shane never looked into it, so I did a little digging myself. The houses, which we actually found the addresses for,
Minecraft digging,
are part of a complex of 4 mega mansions, all built...
I like it, he mentions mega mansions, as in Mega Man's reference. Mega Man.
by a Los Angeles real estate mogul and builder who never designed the houses to be lived in by real people. No, they were always designed to be party houses, or celebrity rentals, or movie sets. His signature style was including features for what he called the douche-oisie, like colored lighting, glass everything, and of course, that signature Hollywood sign by the pool. And if you think Jake's old neighbors had it rough, apparently the neighborhood hates these eyesores and have complained for years that the noise and people coming and going into the house ruins the area. If you'd like to pick them up off the market, the asking price for all 4 on the developer's website is a cool $50 million.
What? Literally multi-millions involved.
Which sounds like a lot, but actually for the size of these houses and their location is kind of a steal. FaZe Clan and Clout Gang live there now, which I thought was kind of an interesting coincidence in the series, that they would both live in these bizarrely identical influencer houses like some kind of digital Twilight Zone, until I learned that basically both clans are the same because they're both owned by a company called W8 Media. They're set to live in those houses until at least 2020, and I know this because I inquired about the next time that the houses would be available. Long story short, I win.
No, that's not possible because of the current global pandemic period. And also you make a video about it lah. You mentioned that you're doing videos at home, so yeah.
This year's stream.
Right now it's in the year 2021, so uncertainty I can say all this.
Me for creepiest internet stalker, and I just really wanted to fit this in somewhere because it's interesting, but it had nothing to do with the main points of the other episodes that I'm doing in this series, so now you know.
Brilliant! Yes! I want to do the interview here.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory. Hello.
The show that isn't about spilling tea, it's about sipping tea while applying facts. Today I'm continuing to follow in the footsteps of Shane Dawson by exploring all the issues that he didn't in his tell-all series on Jake Paul, or at least all the issues that he allowed Jake to just dismiss.
And I don't even think you're doing it on purpose. I don't think you're manipulating on purpose.
You see, during Shane Dawson's documentary, we come to some of the final moments of the docuseries when Shane finally sits down with Jake. During the conversation, Shane rightfully brings up a video from the channel Nerd City, who's done a pretty darn thorough job of researching Jake's history when it comes to merch, openly claiming that Jake is exploiting and manipulating children by hawking merch to them in every single video.
Out of a 13-minute and 50-second video, nearly 7 minutes of that time is devoted to advertising products.
It's an interesting video, and another fun fact here, Shane may have just been inspired by it when he was brainstorming names for the title of his Jake Paul docuseries.
Inside the Mind of Jake Paul.
In response to these allegations, Jake doesn't really have much of an answer. He just vehemently denies that he could possibly manipulate children, calling the claims ridiculous, and that he wants people trying to make the connection to just shut up.
Honestly, I think it's stupid that people think that's manipulative.
Here's the thing though, Jake, and yeah, I'm talking directly to you in hopes that you do end up watching this. I'm not gonna shut up about this. It's important for you to understand why what you're doing is wrong, and not just wrong to little kids, but also illegal, and also against YouTube's ad policies. So even if you don't care about the kids who watch you, do it for that billion-dollar business you're hoping to build up. Cause guess what? Nothing kills a business quite like a class action lawsuit by a bunch of angry parents. Oh yeah, and I know you don't like teachers.
Nothing my teachers taught me in school do I utilize in my day-to-day life.
But don't worry, even though we're covering a lot of educational stuff today, I'll keep it interesting for you.
Like, I wish my teachers did teach me.
I mean, millions of your own dollars are at stake after all. Now, it's important to note that merch itself isn't the problem here, and that a creator isn't wrong to promote their own products. If that were the case, I'd be the pot calling the kettle black, having to do my own series on the manipulation of MatPat. Because, by the way, new game theory and film theory merch is launching on November 24th, and it looks great! There are hoodies and reversible jackets and socks, and holy crap, why am I not getting in trouble for any of this while our favorite blonde punching bag is?
Okay, it's really a yeah.
Well, it's because this isn't a kid's show, whereas the Jake Paul channel is. But MatPat, I'm not doing a kid's show, I'm faking pranks with my friends, and fake getting kidnapped by clowns, and doing upshots of girls climbing ladders, and close-ups of my dad kissing girls, and covering up videos where I use racial slurs. Jake, yeah, I know, I hear you, and I get it. I know I wouldn't let my kids watch ya, but let's look at what defines a kid's show. The media's official definition of children's programming is a show that's aimed at 6 to 11-year-olds with a few key hallmarks. 1, it can be animated or IRL. 2, it often contains comedy and slapstick humor. 3, it's designed to entertain and not to educate. And 4, it doesn't contain open cursing. Jake, you meet all 4 of these criteria in spades. You have an animated character, you feature plenty of slapstick humor, you are certainly not educational. England is my city. And you beep out any cursing.
You wanna fight?
And one look at videos from your live tour show exactly who's watching you.
Tell us what you like so much about Jake Paul.
Everything.
You even have several members of your team under the age of 10, with the youngest being 4. 4! A more cynical person would assume that you're using those kids as a means of adding audience surrogates into your crew, kids who younger viewers can project themselves onto, and that you just happen to own 20% of their future business. But media definitions and audience demos don't even matter because you yourself are intentionally trying to target these kids.
Yeah, my audience is definitely younger. I would say it's like 8 years old to like 16 years old.
So now that we've established that you have a bona fide kids program on your hands, or at least that you want to have one, then what's the big problem? Well, there's nothing wrong with a kids show where people do a bunch of stupid things, but there is a problem with a kids show that breaks a bunch of regulations regarding advertising. You see, psychological studies have shown time and time again that young children are unable to understand when they're being sold to.
Yes, time and time again, can shows that huge majority, you can practice it, everyone can say that all children are fail to recognize the long-term effects. Like what happens if like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years later, they have only lived 8 years, 10 years. You are talking about things that are literally out of their imagination because they have only lived for 10 years, and you're talking about way bigger than that of their entire lifespan altogether combined.
For instance, in a 2002 study by Oates, Blades, and Gunter, of the 8-year-olds that were tested, fewer than half understood that ads were meant to persuade them to do something. For instance, if I threw Batman on screen right now and did this, "Attention kids, it's me, Batman. The Joker is attacking and Gotham City needs your help. Give me your age, name, and mom's credit card number so I can stop him. Do it, and you can be a superhero just like me." Well, we all know it's just me doing a bad Batman impression. But to developing kids, they can't understand that that's not Batman, and that could be someone taking on the mantle of Batman, lying to them in an effort to rip them off. And it's not their fault either. You can't write it off as stupid kids. Our brains just develop that way. Up until age 7, children exist in what's known as a pre-operational phase, where a child is only able to focus on themselves. They can't really hop into someone else's brain and understand that that other person might think or feel differently than they do. It's like Twitter, but actual 8-year-old children and not people acting like 8-year-old children.
Oh! Ouch! Good thing I don't have Twitter. Good thing I don't have Twitter. Yet.
So when in a children's program someone says this,
honestly, this is the best sports bra that I've ever freaking worn about. Don't cover me up. Literally, these are such like high quality, nice elastic. These sports bras are absolutely amazing. Wearing something that like actually means something and like reminds you of being positive or reminds you of being happy.
These kids are just physically unable to process that your shorts won't be able to help them achieve their dreams. Unless, of course, their dream is to buy merch from a company who doesn't do returns on a lot of its items and doesn't do cancellations after 20 hours or less than 1 day after purchase. Mom and dad better figure out that Junior stole their credit card in a hurry. Because of all this, the federal government started to crack down on children's advertising in the 80s. Before that time, kids' programs primarily only existed as advertising tools for toys or products.
That means you must understand that you need to have good parenting and also good adult being good parenting and good adulting for the children involved. Not just your children, but other children as well.
Think Transformers.
Insert proper and appropriate disciplines to them. Teach them what is good and what's bad in the current society that we live in.
He-Man and Street Sharks, because there is no other reason why Street Sharks should have existed. In short, Jake, any of your advertising to children would have been totally legal in the early 1980s, and if laws against children's advertising weren't around today, all the kids' shows on TV would look a lot like your vlogs. But now, because of these regulations, the FTC now requires that any advertising happening around these kids' programs, 1, have a clear distinction between the program and the commercial, 2, that the main character of the show doesn't sell the products during the show, and 3, that products can't be integrated into the program's content.
It's every day, bro. Man, do not go back to the Jake Paul.
Yo, you only have 24 hours to enter this competition. If you get yourself some of the red Confident Camo collection. Check out Mini Jake Paul rocking these.
Mini Jake Paul. Mini Jake Paul.
So cute. Go to fansro.co/Jake Paul and get yourself a baseball jersey and sunglasses.
Lucky for you, Jake, you're on YouTube, so those TV regulations don't apply. But YouTube also has a pretty clear advertising policy for anything qualifying as kids' content. And it's here, Jake buddy, where you're not doing much better for yourself. I'm actually gonna show you the policy, not because I want to bore you to death, but because in your Shane interview, you seemed really unconcerned with how these sorts of policies could affect you.
You must understand that this video came out in the year 2018 and right now it's in the year 2021, so a lot of things may have changed, and yeah, thank you so much for being so understanding, and yeah.
I don't see a problem with it at all. Like, just because my fans are younger, does that mean I'm manipulating them?
Don't do that, please don't do that. As a grown-up, as an adult, younger kids look up to their parents. Younger kids look up to adults. Younger kids look up to grown-ups as role models so that they can be better human beings in the future. Isn't it correct? And you, me, everyone who is an adult, please remember, be a good leader figure for everyone as well. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Read from YouTube's ad policy for kids, which they implement for any kids between the ages of 6 and 11, quote, "Your child may see an ad intro followed by a video ad, marked with ad, before the video you selected. All paid ads undergo a rigorous review process for compliance with our policies. Paid ads won't include any click-throughs to websites or product purchase flows. This means that when you have a show for kids, there should never be a link in the description to buy merch, or in the end screen, or an iCard, or anywhere. No clicking on stuff to go to a website that's going to sell you something or promote a product."
For kids programs, understandable?
This kind of promotion to children between the ages of 6 to 11 is forbidden by YouTube according to the rules set forth in their kids app.
And note this, that this video it came out in the year 2018. Right now it's in the year 2021. A lot of things may have changed.
YouTube disables these kinds of links for children because, again, with children being much more easily manipulated than adults and will, for lack of a nicer way of putting it, do what they're told by the character that they idolize, that's you, Jake, all while being told that Jake Paulers are unique, push the boundaries, and are totally edgy by wearing their merch every day, bro. Then there's YouTube's requirement that short animated messages appear before a paid ad to help a child understand that the paid ad will be played.
We'll be back after this ad.
Clearly an effort, like on TV, to try and help children distinguish between the show that they want to be watching and the ad that they can skip to go get a Juicy Juice refill. But
ad as an advertisement. You can think of it as maybe, I'm not too sure about it, commercials?
In your content, there is none of that division. There can be no after these messages when your whole vlog is practically the message. Or 50% of your vlog, according to that Nerd City video.
Out of a 13-minute and 50-second video, nearly 7 minutes of that time is devoted to advertising products.
But I wanted to give you a fair shake, Jake, because in this Nerd City video, he just showed one example, so maybe he was just cherry-picking what video he showed. So I cast a bit broader of a net. Across the 20 random videos that I selected, some were almost entirely advertisements. Like this one, Don't Watch This With Your Parents, really inspires confidence through that title, where no less than 65% of the video was dedicated to selling your underwear, while others, like Don't Watch This With Your Parents, yeah, they have the same title, only in this one, his girlfriend isn't in her underwear nearly as much, contained only about 15% of the runtime as promotion. And then you had videos which had almost 0% promotion. Sure, they contained really uncomfortable transitions from we're supporting a march for gun control to here's my girlfriend taking off her shirt.
It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter, if you don't think you can get involved or make a difference, you can. You at home can make a difference, baby. Get better every single day. Help the world every single day. Smile every single day. Yo, let's march. Oh my God.
But next to no promotion, so yay! Overall, on average, when looking across all 20 videos, merch and other promotional pushes took up between 20 and 33% of his videos.
Alright, please do remember to be wholesome, be family friendly, and thank you so much for being so welcoming and understanding to everyone. Sincere appreciation for your politeness and decency towards one another. Thank you so much, and let's make the world a better place. Awesome.
Certainly not the 50% mark that Nerd City said, but still over the regulated limit allowed in children's programming.
It also limited how many minutes per hour of commercials that children's programming can contain. That's 17.5% and 20% of the watch time. Maximum.
So, Jake, you're actively producing a self-identified kids show that openly shills to kids who aren't mentally mature enough to understand that they're ads, in turn breaking at least 2 major federal regulations around children's advertising, as well as YouTube's general guidelines for ads aimed at children. But you know what, Jake? Us Ohio boys have to stick together. I will proudly wear my hometown pride merch that I just got for the low price of $10. I mean, at this point, I can't really return it anyway. I know this whole Shane Dawson thing was just an image rehabilitation for you, so here, let me give you a scapegoat to pin this all on, since, like PewDiePie's apology video taught us.
Number 2, what you want to do is shift blame. Shift blame whatever you could do, okay? If you take responsibility, then that's admitting that you're wrong.
Remember the last episode where I talked about the fact that you aren't really a YouTuber, that you're just a cog in your own corporate machine? Well, that means that there are a lot of other parts in that machine. Cogs in that machine who should know better. Much better. Many of your investors hold a slew of investments across the media landscape. I mean, don't get me wrong, these guys have done some awesome work and funded companies that now help millions of people. Everything from Nest to Spotify, but they
talking towards PewDiePie about shifting blames, that's horrible. That's genuinely horrible. Is it really that hard to say, I am sorry, my deepest apologies, please forgive me, I am wrong? Is it really that hard to say that?
They are huge names in the entertainment world. There is no way that these powerhouse investors don't have a basic understanding of children's advertising laws and didn't do their due diligence on you and your content before giving you that small loan of $1 million. Here's the thing, by funding you, they are implicitly supporting your business decisions, including marketing directly to children, whether good or ill.
Keeping a positive image about yourself.
Jake Paul is in their portfolio, and presumably a significant portion of Jake Paul's revenue is coming from his merch, then they are potentially recouping their investments on the backs of illegally manipulated children. And believe me, that is not a good look for anyone. So Jake, what's it gonna be? You wanna be a famous social media businessman, but that means taking the blame for this yourself, or are you gonna pass the blame off to your investors who should have known better and should have been guiding you away from your business practices, but in doing so it means that you're gonna have to give up some of that businessman swagger that you're so proud of. The choice is yours. And here's the last thing I'll say about this issue. Yes, I wish Shane Dawson had pressed Jake more about this, but honestly, I don't think he could. Notice the weird editing around this particular series of questions, and only this series of questions?
It's ridiculous.
So, you spoke your truth on that, and I think we should respect that. Okay, wait, let's cut for a second.
Sentences oddly cut off, a full cut at the end of it, and even Jake's responses felt different here than they did for the rest of the interview.
So it's like, I've been doing that my whole life. So like, for people trying to say like, I'm just doing it to manipulate and trying to make money off of kids, like, shut the f***.
It was almost like Shane was getting into territory that Jake, or the people pulling the strings behind Jake, decided to remove from the table. But it does beg the question, should it have been in there? Should he have pushed harder? Does Shane have a moral responsibility to include stuff like this in his documentary? And ultimately, what does a documentary need to contain in order to be a documentary? Do Shane Dawson's docuseries actually qualify, or are his recent exposés doing more harm than good?
Those are some very good questions that MadPat have mentioned, and it's really good for... Thank you so much for MadPat for being so educational and knowledgeable about it. Thank you so much for teaching us, for educating us, educating me, teaching me about it. Sincerest appreciation. So that I know that I'm going to make this mistakes in the future. It's a definite that I'm going to make this mistake in the future. It's not if, it's when. When I make this mistake in the future, I know what I should do, and I know what's the proper steps moving ahead, so that I can make the world a better place for you and for me and the entire human race.
Is the Shane Dawson documentary format dangerous? I could talk about it now, but then how would I extend this to a part 3 of this theory? So make sure you manhandle that subscribe button. Tell him, Jake.
Give it a little bit of a headbutt, give it a little bit of a knee.
So that way you know in a couple days when the third and final part of this theory goes live. And
wait, but part 3 for...
remember, in the meantime, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut.
Wow, there's a part 3 of it. Gosh, come on, man, come on. Well, thank you so much for watching this video together with me. It's been very unique and special to watch. Quite interesting, especially to learn such educational and unique facts about it. Knowledge about it. So yeah, is it facts? Well, that's just a theory. That is just a theory. Anyways, if you do like this video, please remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you have any share with us. Don't forget to follow my channel and sincerely appreciate all of your support and encouragement for my work. Thank you so much. It's very uplifting and motivating for me to continue doing it. Thank you so much for supportive encouragement. But once again, but hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. Thanks for watching. Thank you. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I meant to go now. Okay, keep it prophets. Thank you so much. Keep it prophets. Thank you so much for dropping by to my live stream. How many more videos do I have to react to? It's to the point in which I'm just tired right now. I want to rest, but I can't. I can't rest. I really can't rest. Two more videos. This is 17 minutes and this is 16 minutes. Gosh. 14, 15, 16, 19, 16. Oh gosh. This is a long video. Tell me, princess, now when
hello, internet. Well,
your heart decide. I can open your eyes. Take you wonder by wonder, over, sideways and under, on the magic carpet ride. A whole new world, a dazzling place I never knew about. But when I'm way up here, it's crystal clear now. Oh my god, this is part 3. Oh gosh. Hello everyone, it's me. Please forgive me, but please remember to share the kindness, because today we're talking about, and yeah.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory!
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory! Hello!
In the third and final episode of our short little foray into investigative journalism.
Trilogy. 3 parts.
Thanks for sticking with it. I know that this one was a bit of a departure for the channel, but honestly, this was a personal passion project for me. After watching Shane's series on Jake, there were 3 main topics that I wanted to address. First, as a creator on this platform for a huge chunk of my life, I wanted to explore the ulterior motives behind this new generation of YouTuber, and the way that they, and the corporations oftentimes funding them, can be exploiting audience trust. Second, as a father and advocate for child education, I wanted to raise awareness of the manipulation inherent in advertising to kids and why it's so easy to do, whether it was intentional or not. And lastly, we come to today's episode.
Alright, so first of all, he is a content creator and a father. Second of all, he wants to teach us, educate us, and make the world a better place. I'm getting the vibe, right?
Where, as a viewer, I wanted to take a step back and cover Shane's trend of docu-series in general, to raise awareness to him, and more importantly to you, about the dangerous tactics that storytellers can use to sway your opinions about the characters in their stories.
The dangerous tactics of a storyteller.
Now, as I've done these last few episodes, I've seen a lot of comments from you all watching that reflected a lot of my own feelings when I was watching Shane's series on Jake for the first time. I kinda wish Shane didn't hold back. He was too empathetic. I love Shane, but sometimes his videos in this category aren't always revealing the entire truth, or that he's not going as in-depth as he could have when seeking the truth. He promoted this thing as nothing is off the table, but it was clear that some things were off the table. I personally wanted to see Jake Paul answer for things like his business decisions and his merch, but instead, it all just felt like one big redemption arc for him, which raises the question, should Shane have covered all that business stuff? Does it matter that he didn't? And most importantly, are his docu-series actually dangerous because of the way he portrays the people in them?
Okay, so we're talking about him in general, about the storytelling, I suppose.
Almost as soon as the Jake Paul documentary started airing, Shane came under fire for giving Jake a platform, and then for cranking up the drama on his story by comparing him to sociopaths, and then by playing dramatic music and using editing tricks to emphasize specific moments, and finally
editing tricks, yes, of course. These just basic editing tricks to make you curve into one pot. If it's like, oh, puppy is so lovely, so cute, kitties. Oh, the cats, lovely dogs, so nice.
For making excuses for Jake's bad behavior by shifting blame to his parents and his brother. So was the internet right to be leveling criticisms at Shane? Today, we're gonna find out. Oh, and in case you were sick of the guy, this theory isn't about Jake anymore. No, this time the whole bank of Shane documentaries are under my theoretical microscope.
Ooh, I'm nervous.
You probably should be. Or maybe not. The only way to find out is to dive in. The first, and perhaps biggest complaint that Shane got in his coverage of Jake Paul was his use of music to overemphasize certain key moments early on in the series. Jake Paul might be a sociopath. He has a creepy dad. It felt to many viewers disingenuous, manipulative, and in response, it's something that Shane dialed back on as the series went on. But even shots like this, the final one of the series, in slow-mo with somber piano music playing underneath,
standard slow-mo with so sombering music playing. It's quite standard, like a redemption arc.
Is manipulative, turning a simple walk away from the camera into something much more. A deep, meaningful, reflective moment where Jake's fake persona is finally dropped.
Editing tricks.
A moment that screams, this right here is the real Jake Paul. When seriously, he was just walking away from the camera. All of these things, the horror stings, the glitches, the slow-mo shots, and sad music, are all examples of the psychological principle known as priming. Just
priming.
It's like you coat a wall with primer before laying down the paint so that the paint goes on smoother. You prime the audience so that they more easily accept what you're trying to convince them of. You know how you recognize that there's about to be a jump scare in a horror movie because you're entering a scary place, and then a door starts creaking open and The music
You're being primed
changes.
to like
That's a
this.
form of priming. But it's not all about just music and editing. Everyone has made the joke that it takes a long time for a Shane docuseries to get started. All that time that Shane spends talking about how nervous he is and generally spending a lot of time self-deprecating in both this series and in the Jeffree Star series. But why? Why is he so nervous? No one talks about this, but Shane has a massive YouTube presence. He's one of the longest standing and best loved creators on the platform. He doesn't need to be nervous with anyone, and yet he portrays himself as being insecure in front of his subjects. Well, whether he means it or not, he's priming his audience to feel the same way he does, like he's entering the presence of someone much greater.
Oh, it's something like, I'm nervous, you shall be too. You shall be nervous as well. This sort of priming effects really does work. I'm strong and healthy, you shall be that too. I'm scared and lonely, you should be that too. I'm hungry, ASMR. Oh wow, whoa! Wait, actually that works eh. That works eh. That day I was watching the ASMR video and then I felt hungry.
Shane Dawson approaches Jeffree Star or Jake Paul like a guy who looks up to him or just wants to impress him. Well, it primes us as the audience to also think that those people are worthy of those emotions. His anticipation becomes our anticipation. He's the audience stand-in when what we're really seeing is just one massive online celebrity talking to yet another massive online celebrity. I mean, seriously, Shane, you've been a YouTube star for over a decade. You have a house in a really upscale part of Los Angeles. You're a bigger deal than a bunch of your documentary subjects. I mean, sure, you might buy shirts at Target, but that's because Target just sells really good shirts. Anyway, both Shane and Jake also use lamp shading a lot throughout the series to get you thinking the way that they want you to be thinking. Basically, lamp shading is the technique of leveling criticism against yourself instead of waiting for people to use those criticisms against you. In the case of the Jake Paul docuseries, video 1 is dedicated to Shane acknowledging up front that people will hate him for doing the videos, that they'll unsubscribe, that they'll accuse him of giving Jake a platform.
Shane, if you do this, we will unsubscribe. We don't want to be a part of this.
I literally will stop watching Shane Dawson if he's gonna try to sit here and make me feel bad for Jake Paul.
And sure, some people did all of those things, but because Shane lampshaded us with those arguments, they immediately lost most of the power that they would have had if they had just come out of the blue. Jake Paul also lampshades in his opening call to Shane, saying that people hate him and that Shane will regret doing this.
People hate me, like literally they hate me, and I don't, if like this is gonna hurt you, then like I don't want to do it.
Acknowledging his own flaws, or at least that other people say that he has flaws, which in turn deprives the haters of all of their ammo. I mean, I myself lampshade all the time on this show. I lampshade that my jokes are bad, because they are all the time.
It's time for your interview. How about it's time to not have a cringy intro joke at the expense of Markiplier personalities?
And what that enables.
Oh, that's really cringe, and Matt does really have a good point about it. Although it's quite cringe. Like, priming is like, I acknowledge it myself. You lack, I take away some of your ammo as well.
Enables me to do is diffuse all comments about my cringy humor. Even me lampshading about my own lampshading is in and of itself lampshading.
So, 一山有比一山高，一个 lampshade 有比一个 lampshade 更 lampshade。What?
You can't hold it against me if I acknowledge it and move on, so let's move on. And then finally, there's framing. Framing is essentially how something is presented to the audience that influences the choices that people make about how to process that information. The biggest piece of framing in Shane's series is the entire discussion of sociopaths at the very beginning of the series. Just by asking the question, are Jake and Logan sociopaths, it frames every interaction and video clip that happens afterward in a way that makes you think, huh, maybe they are sociopaths.
See, this kind of priming really does work. Like, if I also ask, if I also ask, is the person in front of you truly good looking, tall, handsome, rich, wealthy? I can say that a lot of this is wrong. I'm not rich, I'm not wealthy.
Saying this,
and the more I realized and researched, and the more I learned about sociopaths,
and then showing this, where Logan goes from pretending to be nervous to not.
A big scene in my first big Hollywood movie. I'm
I'm just kidding, y'all. Freaking ass.
Suddenly, it's no longer simply just someone putting on a show for the camera, but rather it's implicitly saying, wow, this person must have a facade, a lack of emotion. It must be evidence of sociopathy. Mentioning the word sociopath and using this treatment,
priming, just priming.
He is a sociopath.
is a lot different than using this treatment.
He is a sociopath.
And again, let me lampshade here. I know.
Let me try. Alright, so he is very tall and handsome and rich and wealthy and he has a lot of money. So yeah. Did it work? Did it work?
This because I do it all the time. This kind of framing happens over and over, along with priming to paint a picture of people who can't speak for themselves. Before seeing any footage of Jake's dad, we're prefaced with the fact that Shane and his team have heard that he's weird.
I've heard weird things about the dad, but I've never
I've definitely heard stuff, yeah.
And okay, sure, he's definitely weird, but Shane sets us up to already have these preconceived notions about characters around Jake Paul based on the way that he himself has talked about them in advance. One of the biggest framing decisions that any filmmaker has is how to end his movie. Shane could have ended his docuseries in any way that he wanted, like say with Jake's ex-girlfriend Alyssa Violet, a moment that, as I understand it, chronologically seemed to be one of the last things that he shot. That would leave a very different impression on the overall narrative arc of the story than ending on that slow-mo sad piano shot. And sure, that's a big decision, but even the smallest of things are subject to framing. Look at this. Shane, late night, kitchen, ripped pajamas, getting himself a Diet Coke. Excellent choice of drink, by the way. This shot seems like it does nothing, but in reality, why it's there is because it's framing what comes next.
An update, and also a disclaimer, and also an apology. That's a lot.
It rolls directly into him addressing the early criticisms of the audience leveled against the first parts of the series. This scene makes him sympathetic, downtrodden, and relatable. He's been up all night. He drinks Diet Coke and has ripped pajamas just like us. This apology would look and feel very differently if it was framed, like say, in the vestibule of your mansion with your Jeep out front.
Okay, so it wants to relate to someone, send a very strong message to other people, even though it might be a facade. That is very clever. That's very clever, actually. That's very clever.
I think that's what my and many other viewers' biggest issue was with Shane's docuseries, that it was meant to be an honest tell-all about this controversial figure.
I want to really be honest about it and investigate. You?
But in the end, it came off as biased in Jake's favor. And honestly, that makes sense, right? Controversial figures aren't gonna just agree to do expose videos on themselves. To get the level of access that Shane does, the subject matter of the videos needs to be confident that the story being told is gonna favor them. But that just wasn't how this thing was branded. And it wasn't just this one on Jake Paul either. How can you do an honest assessment of the hot mess that was TanaCon, searching for a person to pin the blame on, when Tana Mojo herself, who created the ill-fated event in the first place, was the one who accepted your Streamy award in your absence?
Accepting the Streamy on his behalf is Tana Mojo.
Gabby Hanna's reaction right there? Yeah, hashtag relatable, it was mine too. The person who ripped off her fans and made them wait outside for multiple days and then got exposed by Shane, she's the one who's gonna accept his award? It's an odd choice.
I think we all can agree this is the only time I'll ever be holding a Creator of the Year award. To be real here, you guys, I wouldn't even be doing anything if it wasn't for Shane.
And then Shane tweets about her being family.
I'm like way too nice, way too forgiving, way too loyal.
You can't do that, Shane. You're a documentarian. We need you to expose the unbiased truths.
Documentarian. Okay. First time hearing this kind of word, so the more you know, I guess. Thank you so much, my pet. And let's carry on with it. Thank you.
You are the arbiter of these facts, is what I thought. But in researching this episode, I learned that I was wrong. And I couldn't have been any more wrong.
Wrong, 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 wrong.
When I, and I'm sure a lot of you, think about the term documentary, I think we all have a pretty clear image in our head of antelope running from lions in Africa, or a trip through the cosmos, or an informational doc about people like Jiro dreams of sushi or exit through the gift shop, all narrated by Morgan Freeman.
I'm Morgan Freeman.
Because it is always Morgan Freeman.
We are all travelers on an unending voyage of discovery.
That's a very iconic and really loving, smoothing voice. Thank you so much, Morgan Freeman. Thank you. And let's continue.
Documentaries are the things my parents used to watch on the History Channel, and now Shane Dawson is doing a cool new take on them by fusing YouTube vlog style with investigative journalism. But here's the thing, documentaries aren't what you thought they were. There are a few really famous places that you can go to show off your documentary film skills, like the Cannes or Sundance Film Festivals. Both of them have entry definitions for their documentary film divisions that essentially boil down to the following 5 components. 1, the use of artful film language and the ability to connect with an audience. 2, the use of effective storytelling. 3, originality. 4, cultural relevance. And finally, they have to inspire the audience to want to know more about their subject. And that's it. That's really the list for criteria for a documentary film. Do you notice anything missing? Right away, there is nothing that says that documentaries have to be truthful. I mean, sure, it has to meet the dictionary definition of a documentary, which is a film about a real person or event, but there's nothing in these criteria about having to tell the whole story or portray your subject in a balanced way. All you have to do is talk about them. Documentaries are about being effective storytellers, not about being effective journalists.
Oh! I didn't know about that. Need to be factual and unbiased. Wow, I didn't know about that.
According to Bill Nichols, who's one of the world's top documentary scholars and theorists, I'm not making up his title, he is a genuine film theorist, the purpose of a documentary isn't to educate you, it's to persuade you. Nichols states that, quote, documentary films mount an effort to convince, persuade, or predispose us to a particular view of the world. It may entertain or please, but it does so in relation to rhetoric or persuasive effort aimed at the existing social world, end quote.
Alright, let me just try to read it out first. Let's go. Documentary films mount an effort to convince, persuade, or predispose us to a particular view of the world. It may entertain or please, but it does so in relation to rhetoric or persuasive efforts aimed at existing social world. Hopefully that works. Hopefully that works to help emphasize what it means.
Those documentaries about penguins on melting polar ice caps, what they're really doing is trying to persuade us to stop global warming. Those Neil deGrasse Tyson astronomy documentaries fund space research. Jiro dreams of sushi, eat more sushi. And from the looks of it, Shane meets all of these criteria too. The TanaCon expose, place blame, and get attendees a refund. Interviewing Jeffree Star, change the audience's minds about someone who had been branded a racist and dumb beauty influencer. Investigating Jake Paul, it's a bit unclear, but it ended up being rehabilitating his image and differentiating him from Logan. Shane's got himself 3 documentaries on his hands, just not documentaries in the way that I think a lot of his audience understood them. It's interesting. When you step back and look at this whole series, this whole 3-part series I've done on film theory, it all boils down to one core theme: manipulation through the medium. In episodes 1 and 2, I gave Jake a really hard time because he and his corporate backers are exploiting the inherent trust that comes from the medium of digital video. YouTube is different than movies and TV, at least for now. Viewers expect more authenticity from it because it is literally people holding a camera to their face.
More honesty, be more authentic, be more genuine, be more pure, innocent, and truthful about it. Be more honest.
On YouTube, there's a perceived truthfulness that can lead people to believe creators don't have their own agenda, when we've seen in the case of people like Jake that they most certainly do.
But it really hurts when the truth that you see may be just a perceived truth.
The same can be said of Shane.
Like, it can be the same information, just misdirect in a different path.
To a much different extent. We've just spent however many minutes long this video ends up being talking about how Shane's just produced a textbook documentary using persuasive techniques like framing and priming that any good storyteller uses. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it, except for the runtime, because seriously, buddy, just make some tough editing choices and trim down the whole thing, for crying out loud. No, the problem is with us. the viewer. If it's surprising to you to learn that documentaries are manipulative and biased, like it was honestly for me, then the problem is you and me. We expect our documentarians to be honest, but they're not. And according to their medium, they don't have to be. So what makes them dangerous isn't the way they're presented, it's the way that we watch them. We expect
they don't have to be honest. What?
The medium of documentaries to be truthful when there is no requirement for that whatsoever. We watch YouTube and documentaries like we're watching something that's absolutely true when that couldn't be further from reality. I know you probably thought this episode was going to end with me bashing Shane, because I oftentimes frame the episodes that way. But the truth is what he's doing is smart. Not just from a YouTube programming perspective, but from a cultural relevancy standpoint. The real takeaway from this episode and this whole Jake Paul series, set of theories, docu-theory, I like that, is this. Don't accept everything you see as fact. And don't expect people on YouTube to be truthful or unbiased. Even your absolutely favorite creators. I can tell you that most of us try to be as honest as possible when we're making videos, but everyone has some kind of agenda, and critical thinking is the only thing that stands between you and being taken in.
True, I agree with it. Everyone have a biasness, but how biased? What is the biasness level involved? How much influence is in it for the biasness?
Don't be someone who passively accepts what you're told, whether it's to buy tickets to a 19-year-old's YouTube convention or buying a t-shirt from someone who's dabbing on their haters. If you think about it, or you don't have to think about it, I'm just going to explicitly tell you, this whole issue is the entire reason that film theory and game theory exist as channels.
And food theory as well.
I learned early on to think critically about the stories I'm being told and the underlying motivations that exist for why people might be telling me those stories. And that led me to do shows that look at things from a different angle, that asks the question, maybe they're lying to us. If I can pull back the curtain and inspire critical thinking in some of you who watch too, encouraging you to keep on asking questions, well then, I'm doing my job.
Stop. Must ask proper and appropriate questions. Don't ask random inappropriate questions at the wrong time. You don't ask about random architectural questions in a business class. You do not ask about random chemical questions in the language class. You don't ask about random makeup sessions. You don't ask about random administration question in a makeup class, correct? In the design class, you don't do that. Ask proper and appropriate questions. Be educated about such openness about it. You have the power to have the openness, but it's your responsibility to be educated as well. Don't be irresponsible about it. Thank you so much.
But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And back to normal stuff later this week, because I know a lot of you people are like, where are the actual films and the actual theories? Oh, but lastly, for God's sake, Shane, don't make the next one a 13-part series. Though, if you're looking for some good expose material, I've seen you tweeting a lot about Defy's MCN closing. As someone who was a Defy employee and was in their network when the company collapsed and has worked in a lot of different capacities across the multi-channel network universe, I have plenty of fun stories to tell ya.
Okay, so the more you know, I guess. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. The outro is a bit weird, but let's just ignore that and focus on me. If you do like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. If I'm not below and feel of us, don't forget to follow my channel. Since really share off your support and encouragement for me. It's very positive and uplifting with the hope centers involved. Thank you so much, and yeah, sincere appreciation for all of you. Remember to be understanding and be decent human being. Thank you so much for your politeness and awesome, wonderful kindness and caring for everyone. Thank you so much. Have a heart, do your part. Be a good human being in society. Once again, that's just a theory, a film theory. Thanks for watching. Thank you. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Thank you so much. Bye. Subscribe to my channel. One last video before I end the live stream. I've been ongoing for like 2 hours plus. It's gonna be 3 hours soon. I really need a break. I really genuinely need a break. Tomorrow I need to start early. Tomorrow I start my video early. Start my live stream early.
Post
Meme. Let's start. Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. So much video to react to. Let's go. Let's go. Alright. Hello everyone, it's me. And today, one more time, I messed up. My click was unbalanced. One more time. Alright. Oh my gosh. Hello everyone, it's me. And today, let's learn more about. Last time. Hello everyone, it's me. And today, let's learn more about memes, or memes, whatever you call it. One more time, gosh, I messed up, I'm sorry. I feel bad, man, I really feel bad. I feel bad, gosh. What am I doing, come on. Let's do it properly. Let's do a proper intro. Hello everyone, it's me, and today let's learn more about memes, or memes if you pronounce it right that way.
Post memes, and your content might get flagged. Stop posting memes, and your account will remain safe, at least for a while. But think about posting your memeless videos many years from now and ask yourself, would you be willing to trade all those days for just one chance? One chance to come back here and tell them that they may copyright strike our accounts, but they will never kill our memes! Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory.
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory. Hello.
The show that, quite honestly, might not be able to air in Europe anymore. That's not an opening joke or an exaggeration either. Do you watch gamers or film criticism channels? Have you ever laughed at a meme? SpongeBob, Thanos, or otherwise? Do you have a Twitter or Tumblr account? Have you ever used anything from Imager, Jiffy, or Giphy, depending on how you pronounce it? Are you one of those people who long for the old days of YouTube when the big media companies weren't on the platform? I am sure between all of those questions, I am talking to a huge chunk of you. And if I am, then pay very close attention to today's episode, because a huge percent of the content that you currently watch and share online is on the chopping block, including this show, and Game Theory, and GT Live. And if there's any
Food Theory
hope of saving them, well, we've gotta act now. So if this is such a big deal, then why is no one talking about this supposed looming threat to all our online content? Well,
that's really troubling if you think about it. Quite worrisome and bothersome. Moreover, especially when the words putting you on the chopping block, or when crap hit the fan. Now that's really that calls for attention.
well, I mean, the name alone is the Directive on Copyright in the Digital Single Market, which, whoo boy, if that doesn't get you hyped, well then you don't even policy make, bro. In short, it's kinda complicated. And by kinda complicated, I mean really complicated. But you know me, I eat complicated topics for breakfast and then spit them back at you in a simplified, more digestible way. Just like a mama bird puking up little worm nuggets of knowledge. So let's get down to it before this show goes the way of Spider-Man on Titan. Cue the Thanos snap transition, since it might be one of the last times we can use it.
Oh my gosh! You should have gone for the head. No, what is it? I am inevitable. Let me try. Okay, good at.
I'm not feeling so good, Internet.
I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
You may have heard the words Article 13 tossed around on and off throughout this year. And if you follow me on Twitter, you may have seen me trying to sound the alarms about this supposed meme ban, a piece of legislation that, according to Facebook, quote, could have serious unintended consequences for an open and creative internet. And according to YouTube's CEO, poses a threat to creators' livelihoods and all of our ability to upload videos to share our voices with the world. But then, what is this thing that everyone is so worried about? Well, let me explain. Right now, all websites, and I mean all websites, including big ones like YouTube, Tumblr, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Reddit, Twitter, they all rely on two key legal principles to operate: fair use and safe harbor. Fair use is one that probably all of you watching are familiar with at this point, since everyone on YouTube claims that their video is protected by it.
Fair use is very, very easy to understand.
I'm Alex from I Hate Everything, and where's the fair use?
So we will be the first client of this account that will be known as the Fair Use Protection Account, also known as FUPA.
But what is it exactly? Well, it allows for the use of copyrighted materials without the permission of the original copyright holder. You may have seen some video creators specifically go out of their way to state that their use of clips is for educational purposes.
Now, with all you've just learned in this video that I've made for educational purposes,
and that's because educational use, along with criticism and review, commentary, news reporting, and research, are all things that are explicitly allowed by United States fair use doctrine. It's how I'm able to show Gravity Falls clips like this one, and cutouts of characters like this one, when crafting theories about how the show isn't over. Because the show isn't over. It shouldn't be over. Please don't tell me it's over. I refuse to believe that it's over. Please bring back Gravity Falls. Or
I like it. Mappa is like, no, please bring back Gravity Falls. Okay.
How CinemaSins can show clips from a movie to sin them, or how honest trailers can show clips from a movie to honestly trailer them. It's how we're able to edit together SpongeBob SquarePants with the Super Smash Bros. World of Light trailer to have Squidward suddenly getting vaporized mid-bath, or how Thanos can snap his fingers to dust away the Emoji Movie. Thank you for that, by the way. But what if something doesn't fall under fair use? Like if I just straight up re-upload a chunk of Harry Potter? Well, that's where safe harbor comes in. You see, according to the United States Digital Millennium Copyright Act, or DMCA, media companies can issue takedown notices to website owners requesting the removal of infringing content on their site. When someone uploads a 24-hour live stream of Family Guy to YouTube, YouTube is...
Gosh, 24 hours. 24 hours is a long time to do live stream, especially if you need to entertain people. Gosh, it's a long time for in-person IRL viewers. I mean, I've tried, I failed. It would be good if you do it with your couple of friends who actually know how to interact with chat, so that it'll be easier to manage the 24 hours lah.
Isn't actually responsible for committing that copyright violation.
So during the entire 24 hours, you can have like a 1 hour break or half an hour break. You can rest your eyes, close your eat something, digest something, yeah.
They're only responsible.
Just like mental stress, reduce your mental stress a bit.
For removing it. That is the principle of safe harbor. That YouTube here is just an intermediary. It's not at fault for someone misusing the system and uploading illegal stuff as long as it gets taken down. And as such, they're shielded from copyright liability. That's why creators get copyright strikes and not YouTube. And just know that when I say YouTube, I really also mean SoundCloud, Imager, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Reddit, pretty much any site that allows users to upload content. Now, there's one problem that you might have noticed with what I just described, that all of these laws are in the United States. The United States Fair Use Doctrine, the United States Digital Millennium Copyright Act. Europe has some very different policies. Policies that the Article 13 meme ban threatens to make even stricter. You see, in Europe, it's not called fair use, it's called permitted use. Now, that at first might seem like an insignificant word change, but just the name permitted use actually speaks to how the European doctrine differs from the US. Think about what the word permit means. It means that you need permission to do something. For example, you're not allowed to park somewhere without a permit from the city. Home improvements require a construction permit from the government. Basically, you're not allowed to do this unless we say that you're allowed to. And the same applies to copyrighted works.
So, interesting. Like, genuinely very interesting. Keep it educational, and I really learned a lot from it.
You're not allowed to use them except where explicitly and expressly permitted to do so. And I think you can start to see where this system might fall apart. So where are you permitted to use this stuff? Well, as stated before, the US Fair Use Doctrine specifies that for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, or research, the use of a copyrighted work is considered fair. However, an important fact here is that the list isn't exclusive. In other words, the US Fair Use Doctrine is written in a way that basically says lots of things can qualify as fair use. Here are some examples. This in turn allows the law to remain flexible and include new forms of media that have arisen since it was written, like memes or vlogs, which didn't exist back when US copyright law was first being drafted. By contrast, the European permitted use policy takes the completely opposite approach. According to the EU's Copyright and the Information Society Directive of 2001, use for parody, quotation, private copying, or classroom use are permitted. At first, that seems pretty similar to US doctrine, but then you realize that's it. That is the whole list. Anything that is not on that list is automatically not allowed. Under US law, you could take something like this scene. What the hell are you? We are Venom. And remix it to do something like this. What the hell are you?
It's me, Mario.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let me try. It's me, Mario. I'm sorry.
Quality meme, 10 out of 10, clap clap. And US lawyers would say, well, this might technically not be a criticism or commentary, but it's not like this person is trying to take anyone else's work and pass it off as their own. Fair use. European Union doctrine as it's written says, is it for classroom? Is it a quotation? Is it parody? Well then no permit for you. Oh, and that last one about parody might be a bit confusing, but the legal definition of parody is actually very strict. The best example is something like a parody song. In order to officially qualify, the new parody version of the song needs to have lyrics that directly make fun of the original work, so it's a very limited, narrow definition. In short, Europe's copyright doctrine just tends to be a lot stricter. But Article 13 is what threatens to make a bad problem even worse, because now it's actively targeting the idea of safe harbor. It directly states that, quote, online content sharing service providers, i.e. sites like YouTube, Tumblr, Reddit, whatever, and rights holders, the movie studios, music labels, etc., shall cooperate in good faith in order to ensure that unauthorized protected works or other subject matter are not available on their services. So basically, all these sites need to work to ensure that copyrighted stuff isn't uploaded. That shouldn't be that big of a deal, right? YouTube has Content ID, which protects against wrongful uploads, sometimes a bit too aggressively, but certainly enough to ensure that I can't find full episodes of Phineas and Ferb on here without paying. It should be covered. And meanwhile, sites like Dailymotion, where you can find literally all sorts of illegal uploads on, will be held accountable and need to clean up their act. It all sounds reasonable, right? But here's the trouble. You see, an earlier version of Article 13 mentioned, quote, proportionate content recognition technologies, which sounds like what YouTube already has in place, automatic detection of recognized content upon upload. And if that was actually what was written, well then things would be fine. I wouldn't be making this episode. But this didn't make it into the version that passed. The people behind Article 13, which is mostly the music industry, because quite frankly the music industry tries to kill anything that it finds threatening, wants to keep the language vague because then they can demand basically anything they want and say, well, the law requires you to cooperate in all good faith with us. What does good faith mean? It's unclear, it's poorly defined, and that's the problem. What they're demanding is that nothing that has the potential to be infringing be uploaded.
Starfish, Patrick Starfish, with the ambiguity and gray line, gray areas. Interesting.
Onto these websites. Catching it via Content ID once it's on the system isn't good enough. They want to stop it before it even gets uploaded. So what does that translate to? Well, it has the potential to mean the end of all user-generated content. The stuff that we all make. I mean, think about it. Who loses in this situation? Not the movie studios or the big media companies. They're all permitted to use their own rights. Not the music industry. They just own the songs. It's us. All of us. We all lose. It's the people on YouTube and Tumblr and TikTok and Twitter and whatever. We
are all losers. You are a loser. I'm a loser. We are all losers. You watching this, you are a freaking loser. I'm watching this, I'm a loser. We are all losers.
We lose. In a conversation I personally had with YouTube CEO Susan Wojcicki about Article 13, she made it very clear. If this ends up going through with the current legal language, YouTube will have to treat Europe like a bubble. Videos uploaded outside of Europe won't be able to go in, and in Europe, the only people who will really be permitted to upload will end up being the big companies. If you need even more proof, she even wrote about it. Quote, if implemented as proposed, Article 13 threatens hundreds of thousands of jobs, European creators, businesses, artists, and everyone they employ. The proposal could force platforms like YouTube to allow only content from a small number of large companies. It would...
Gosh. YouTube, get it? You. Okay, it's me lah. Yeah, but you get the point. You get the point, right? You. 你 あなた 君
be too risky for platforms to host content from smaller original content creators because the platforms would now be directly liable for that content. End quote. The safe harbor shield that was protecting YouTube from copyright strikes may dissolve. And because their butts are on the line for all copyright strikes now, the only people YouTube can allow to upload are the people they are certain owns the IP rights, the big companies. And all other sites would have to follow suit, and it is expensive and difficult to make an appropriate content ID system. Even worse, it could empower media companies to make more erroneous copyright claims, such as the case where Sony Music Entertainment went after people posting classical music composed by Bach. What's more, we usually think about copyright protection as it applies to movies and music, but simple images are covered by copyright as well. Every painting, every drawing, every logo that's posted to the internet is copyrighted material. Every tattoo, that's not an exaggeration, tattoos are actually owned by the artist who made them. And of course, each and every meme. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking. Boy, that sucks for people over in Britain. Wait, they're not part of the EU. Hold up. Would Britain be affected by Article 13? Yeah, apparently they would be. Alright. Sucks for people over in Britain, France, and Spain, but why should I care? Well, you might not be European, but the sites you use operate in countries that are part of the EU.
And the Europe countries have a huge say in it. If you're a big country, you have big influence, you have a big say into it.
When different countries have different laws, companies usually cater to the least common denominator. Rather than having different policies for users in different countries, companies will just usually target the strictest set of rules and comply with those, then apply that set of rules to everybody. For a recent example of this, earlier this year, you probably got a flood of emails from Facebook, Google, Reddit, and pretty much every website under the sun notifying you, hey, we've updated our privacy policy, click that you accept it. Well, the fact that you got all these emails around the same time wasn't a coincidence. All of these companies were updating their privacy policy to comply with GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation passed in May by, you guessed it, the European Union. These sorts of privacy and copyright changes affect all users, not just those based in the EU. And trust me, once media companies realize that they can take us down in one part of the globe, I guarantee they'll be knocking down the door trying to make it happen in more corners of the earth. So, European or not, the EU Copyright Directive is something that should matter to you, threatening your memes, your online shows, and most importantly, the literally hundreds of thousands of people who make their living working online. Me, the whole Theorists team, every YouTuber that you watch. So what can you do at this point? Well, there are three things. First, and most importantly, spread the word. People aren't talking about this because it's a complicated issue, but start raising awareness about the dangers of Article 13. Share this video with your favorite online creators, and not because I'm like, get me a lot of views, though in this case I absolutely want this video to get a lot of views, but because I think I did a pretty decent job of explaining the issue in a clear way that wasn't super boring. Basically, we need people to understand why this matters. And then number two, make your own content. Start tweeting about Article 13 with the hashtag #SaveYourInternet. Make videos, raise awareness. And finally, number three, if you're in Europe, talk to your MEPs, find out whether they supported Article 13 and why.
I really like it that MadPat have mentioned this problem, this situation, this crisis, this problem to us. And here's the answer, here's the solutions, here's some possible ways that you can go about. Yes. And that's interesting. It's really, I'm really thankful towards MedPath for being so helpful about it, you know.
Convince them in a clear and reasoned and logical way that Article 13, as it's currently written, will cause significant harm to the European internet.
This sort of approachable and welcoming individuals are just wonderful. Thank you so much for being so educational. I learned a lot from it. Thank you.
We need MEPs to understand what's really going on here and think through the consequences of the language of the law. No one here is disagreeing that the rights of copyright holders should be infringed upon. That's not the issue. The issue is that the language of the law is too vague, and as it's currently written, it opens the door for media companies to abuse this legislation. And you have to do these 3 things right away, right now, because here's the thing. This bad policy isn't something hypothetical that could happen. It is something that has already happened. It has passed multiple times, and it is currently in the final stages of voting. It's a real thing. They're just solidifying the language now. And if nothing is done to change that language, it could be finalized and implemented in its current form before the end of this year. And if it is, this is a preview of the show that you might just end up seeing every week. And that's no theory. That's a fact. Save your internet, guys. Help me save my job. This is a battle that really matters. And hey, if you want to enjoy another meme video while I'm still currently able to air them, click the box to the left to watch more meme goodness as I calculate the length.
Wait. Did he just mention me instead of memes?
Of the single longest meme ever created in history. The length of this thing is gonna shock you. And finally, make sure you subscribe. We have some amazing theories coming up before the end of the year on Guardians of the Galaxy, on the deadliest Disney movie, on some classic animated series, Spider-Man anime. It's gonna be a good end of the year. So make sure that you have a slightly better chance of seeing it appear on your homepage by smashing that subscribe button, and do me a favor, ring the bell. That way you're guaranteed to get notifications. Now go, talk about Article 13. Save your internet. Save my job. All of us over here on the Theorists team are hoping you're able to do it.
Thank you so much for watching this video together with me. Here's a very... Note that this video came out in the year 2018. Note that this video came out in the year 2018 and right now it's in the year 2021. It's a very serious issue about it, and yeah. I hope that you find this video very important, and also I hope that you learn something new about this from this video. Anyways, if you like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you have anything of us. Don't forget to follow my channel. I still appreciate all the support and encouragement from you. Thanks. That's very motivating and uplifting for me. Thanks so much. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Thank you so much. But hey, that's just theory, a film theory. Thanks for watching. Wait a minute. Is that a theory? Is that a theory? Well, thanks for watching. And cut. Thank you so much. Subscribe. Bye bye. Alright, I've been live streaming for nearly 3 hours. I'm gonna rest now. Thank you so much all of you for watching this video together with me. What's the next one? I still got how many more? Oh gosh, there's a lot. Tomorrow morning I'm gonna start early. Can you speak Groot? Hello everyone, it's me. Hi everyone, it's me, and today, important, let's learn a new language. Right, that sounds good. Anyways, that's for tomorrow's live stream. Around at 3+ PM. I'm so tired right now. I'm genuinely so tired. I should have slept more. I should have slept earlier. 6 to 8 hours of sleep. I should have slept 8 hours. And not spend most of our time in front of camera all this. Gosh. Anyways, thank you all so much for coming over to my live stream. It's getting super stuffy and super hot right now. Just now there's a rain. I suggested the rain and it stopped raining already. So anyways, hope to see you all in my next live stream. Thank you so much, KV Profits. Thank you so much, Gary Penny. Thank you so much, Jackie. Thank you so much, Ivan. Thank you so much, Sylvia. And hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye. Once again, thank you all so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for watching this live stream. But hey, that's just a stream, a live stream. Thanks for watching. Thank you. And I hope to see you all in my next live stream. Thank you. Bye.